Chapter 3379. The Flying Immortal King, Ji Xuanji, personally went out of the city to invite Ji Changkong and He Tian into the Flying Immortal City. This scene was seen by the people in the city. Very soon, Emperor Ji, who was in the Ji clan's ancestral land, received the news that Ji Changkong killed Ji Wu and was invited into the Flying Immortal City by Ji Xuanji. This made him extremely angry. Emperor Ji had spent his entire life scheming against others, and even scheming against himself. All of this stemmed from his thirst for power. The reason why he was able to sit on the position of the family head was because he schemed against Ji Changkong back then. Back then, if he had not schemed against Ji Changkong, the person sitting in the clan leader's seat would not be him, but Ji Changkong. Back then, most of the Ji clan's higher-ups thought highly of Ji Changkong because he was the only Ji clan disciple that could cultivate the 9 revolutions heavenly art to perfection. The 9 revolutions heavenly art was an invincible cultivation technique passed down by the Ji clan's supreme great ancestor. Since ancient times, the Ji clan had produced countless talented disciples, but those that could cultivate the 9 revolutions heavenly art to perfection were few and far between. Most of the Ji clan's disciples could only cultivate the 9 revolutions heavenly art to the entry stage and could not advance any further. However, back then, Ji Changkong cultivated the extremely difficult 9 revolutions heavenly art to the 2nd revolution. This was something that shocked all of the Ji clan's higher-ups. What Emperor Ji feared the most finally happened. Once Ji Changkong returned to the Ji clan, the matter of him scheming against Ji Changkong back then would be exposed. At that time, not only would he not be able to claim the clan leader's seat, but his life would also be in danger. He knew that one of the elders in the clan was very fond of Ji Changkong back then. Once that ancestor found out that he schemed against Ji Changkong back then, the consequences would be unimaginable. Although Ji Changkong killed Ji Wu was the one who sneak-attacked Ji Changkong first, so he deserved to be killed. However, Ji Wu's death was a huge matter to some people. Making enemies before even returning. Very good. In the Ji clan's ancestral land, Emperor Ji stood in front of a window and looked up at the sky with a sinister smile on his face. "Is war slave here?" Emperor Ji suddenly said. His voice was not loud, but as soon as he finished speaking, a silhouette silently appeared behind him, bowing and standing. Master, that battle slave was very respectful towards Empress Ji, and was even a little afraid. It was a blurry existence, like a shadow. Although it stood behind Empress Ji, it seemed like it could dissipate into the void at any time. "Go kill that guy." Emperor Ji retracted his gaze and said indifferently, "Yes, master." After receiving the order, the blurry figure disappeared into the void without a sound. Humph. Ji Changkong, although you can kill Ji Wu, you are definitely not a match for the battle slave. This time, you are dead for sure. Empress Ji's face turned extremely cold. Just as Emperor Ji sent battle slaves to deal with Ji Changkong and He Tian were led by the Flying Immortal King's son to the main hall of the City Lord's residence and sat down. Then, the Flying Immortal King ordered the servants to prepare food and wine. He wanted to welcome Ji Changkong. "Nephew Changkong, why did you kill that Ji Wu?" The Flying Immortal King looked at Ji Changkong in confusion. One must know that Ji Wu was also a disciple of the Ji clan. No matter what, Ji Changkong shouldn't have killed that guy. It's nothing. Since he wanted my life, I could only take his life. It's that simple. Ji Changkong shrugged and said without a care in the world. When the Flying Immortal King heard this, he didn't know what to say. He didn't know what happened back then, nor did he know that it was all part of Empress Ji's plan. That guy, Emperor Ji, must have been living quite well these years. Ji Changkong suddenly said. What? The Flying Immortal King didn't expect Ji Changkong to ask such a question. He couldn't help but be stunned. Although he was Ji Changkong's uncle, the current Ji Changkong was no longer the kid from back then. Right now, the person sitting in front of the Flying Immortal King was a quasi-supreme. Even the Flying Immortal King didn't dare to be negligent. One must know that if supremes didn't appear, then quasi-supremes were the strongest existences. Of course, that was excluding those abnormal supremes. I'm not too sure either. I rarely return to the ancestral land. The flying immortal king said. His good days have come to an end. Ji Changkong clenched his teeth as an ominous glint flickered in his eyes. Okay, let's go eat something first. At this moment, He Tian suddenly said. He already smelled the fragrance of meat coming from the rear palace, causing his appetite to increase. During their time in the land of flying immortals, He Tian and Ji Changkong lived a primitive life of eating raw meat and drinking blood. Now that He Tian smelled the fragrance of meat, he immediately stood up. Not bad, let's eat first. When Ji Changkong smelled the fragrance of the meat, his stomach immediately rumbled. This was a primitive reaction, a normal reaction to food. Actually, with Ji Changkong's cultivation, it didn't matter if he ate or not. However, the flying immortal king didn't prepare ordinary dishes. The flying immortal king hurriedly stood up from his seat and led the way. The three of them arrived at the rear hall. The furnishings in the rear hall were very simple. In the middle of the hall was a table with all sorts of steaming hot food placed on it. He Tian quickly sat down and didn't stand on ceremony. He directly grabbed a red braised phoenix and started eating. That phoenix was no ordinary bird. It was a powerful creature that inherited the bloodline of the divine bird, the phoenix. Even Ji Changkong didn't expect the flying immortal king to use a phoenix to cook. This guy really knew how to enjoy life. Ji Changkong noticed that aside from the phoenix, there were also steamed dragon carp and roasted firebird eggs on the table. In the middle of the table, there was actually dragon crocodile meat stewing in a large pot. This table of dishes could definitely be considered the most sumptuous in the entire flying immortal city. Every dish was cooked from precious spirit beasts or spirit birds. Not a single dish on the table could be eaten by ordinary cultivators. Only the flying immortal city's city lord, Ji Xuanji, had such a method. Nephew, let's eat, Ji Xuanji said. How can I accept this? How can I accept that? Haha, then I'll start. Ji Changkong didn't just use his chopsticks. Instead, he directly used his hands. Just like He Tian, he grabbed the food and started eating. He didn't care about his image at all. These two gluttons, when the flying immortal king saw this, he was speechless. He was the city lord, so he wouldn't be like Ji Changkong and Ji Changkong. Compared to Ji Changkong and He Tian's table manners, the flying immortal king was much more refined. This was the most sumptuous meal that He Tian and Ji Changkong had eaten since they were trapped in the flying immortal land. It was also the most delicious meal. All the dishes on the table were swept clean by the two of them. Many thanks, uncle. Let's part ways here. After Ji Changkong ate and drank his fill, he stood up and planned to leave. One must know that the flying immortal king receiving them so warmly was definitely not a good thing. It was not easy to eat such a meal. Dear nephew, please wait. Seeing that Ji Changkong was about to leave, the flying immortal king hurriedly stood up and said, "This guy actually wants to eat a free meal and run. It won't be that easy. Uncle, I still have matters to attend to. I really can't stay for long," Ji Changkong said in a difficult manner. He Tian watched from the side and was happy. These uncle and nephew were fighting. Let's see who would win. Dear nephew, I know you want to return to the ancestral land as soon as possible. After all, you've been gone for so long. Ji Xuanji said. Thank you for your understanding, uncle. Let's part ways here. Ji Changkong said, then turned around and left. Dear nephew, there's a great opportunity before us. Are you willing to let it go just like that? Ji Xuanji said loudly. What? When Ji Changkong heard this, his footsteps immediately stopped. He obtained a good fortune in the land of ascension, so he became a quasi-supreme. Now that he heard that there was another opportunity, he was naturally very curious and wanted to obtain it. Even Erebus' interest was piqued. What opportunity? Tell me about it. Ji Changkong turned around and said to Ji Xuanji. There's a cave in a mountain range 10,000 li away from here. It's a quasi-sovereign cave. There might be a quasi-sovereign's inheritance in there. Ji Xuanji said what he knew. It turned out that not long ago, someone discovered a cave in the Scarlet Demon Ridge 10,000 li away. However, no one could open the cave. Ji Xuanji had also gone to take a look. It was a cave built by a quasi-sovereign. Even he found it difficult to open the door. The entire abode was sealed by a wave of energy. If one wanted to enter the cave, they had to break through the force that enveloped the cave. Ji Xuanji originally wanted to return to the ancestral land to borrow an immortal weapon and break it. However, no one expected Ji Changkong and He Tian to suddenly appear at this time and come to the flying immortal city. Their arrival allowed Ji Xuanji's plan to be carried out. A quasi-sovereign cave. Let's go take a look. As Ji Changkong spoke, he walked out. He Tian naturally followed. The flying immortal king also walked out. They directly soared into the sky and left the city lord's mansion. They directly left the flying immortal city and flew towards the Scarlet Demon Ridge. 10,000 li was covered in the blink of an eye in Ji Changkong's eyes. As soon as he arrived, he sensed a powerful aura. The source of this aura was the cave. Let me try. He Tian took a step forward and arrived in front of the cave in a flash. Then, he directly threw a punch at the door. Boom. Chapter 3380. C_T. The Crimson Demon Ridge was an ominous place in the celestial Myrtle Star, where the soaring immortal city was located. Even during the day, the area was covered in dark clouds and yin qi. Advertisement: the cultivators who entered the Crimson Demon Ridge felt that the surrounding temperature had suddenly dropped significantly. The entire area was pitch black, be it the soil, rocks, or plants. The entire Crimson Demon Ridge seemed to have been soaked in black ink. A faintly discernible demonic aura enveloped the entire area. As soon as He Tian and Ji Changkong entered the Crimson Demon Ridge, they immediately sensed the demonic aura in the area. They didn't expect such a place to exist in the celestial Myrtle Star. Ever since the Ji clan produced an extreme-grade sovereign, they had been the dominant clan in the celestial Myrtle Star, ruling the entire planet for countless years. Even though the Ji clan's extreme-grade sovereign had disappeared, the Ji clan's position in the celestial Myrtle Star had never changed. No one, no force, could challenge the Ji clan's position as the overlord. In the history of the celestial Myrtle Star, no demons had ever invaded the celestial Myrtle Star. However, why would there be a place shrouded in demonic aura in the area ruled by the soaring immortal city? The reason for the demonic aura here was actually very simple. There was once a demon here, and it was an expert of the demonic path. However, in the depths of the Scarlet Demon Ridge, there was actually a cave, a quasi-supreme level cave. This cave was originally hidden within a mountain ridge. However, for some unknown reason, half of the mountain had collapsed, revealing the cave dwelling hidden in the mountain. The cave dwelling had attracted cultivators from all directions to venture into the Crimson Demon Ridge, but no one had been able to open the door and enter the cave dwelling. Even the city lord of the soaring immortal city, Ji Xuanji, couldn't open the door either. Although the cave dwelling was a quasi-sovereign cave dwelling, the sealing force that sealed it was extremely powerful. Even Ji Xuanji couldn't do anything about it. Boom. At this moment, a loud noise rang out from the depths of the Crimson Demon Ridge. Following that, an extremely powerful energy wave surged out from the depths of the Crimson Demon Ridge. The entire space where the Crimson Demon Ridge was located became unstable due to the powerful impact. Visible ripples spread out from the depths of the Crimson Demon Ridge. Boom. Soon after, another loud bang rang out from the depths of the Scarlet Demon Ridge. An even more powerful energy rippled out, causing the entire region to tremble. Some of the mountains even collapsed in the void and turned into dust. Almost all the books you want to read can be found here. It's much more stable than the average website. It's also updated quickly. It's all written with no advertisements. What happened? The cultivators outside the Scarlet Demon Ridge were incomparably shocked. A wave of quasi-supreme aura spread out from the Scarlet Demon Ridge and all the cultivators there grew terrified to the extreme. Someone is attacking that cave abode. In the next moment, practically all the cultivators outside Crimson Demon Ridge realized this. Scarlet Demon Ridge's grotto mansions were not a secret to other cultivators. Countless cultivators had tried to open the doors to the grotto mansions. However, no one had succeeded so far. At this moment, He Tian and Ji Changkong were staring at the entrance of the cave. It's so hard. It's even harder than the old tortoise's shell, He Tian said while swinging his fist. When he punched the stone door of the cave abode just now, the door actually emitted an extremely powerful rebound force. The old tortoise? Ji Changkong couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. He naturally knew who the old tortoise He Tian was talking about was. Only He Tian would dare to call that existence that. What old tortoise? Ji Xuanji curiously came over and asked. It's nothing. This guy was just joking. Ji Changkong didn't want to explain. One should know that this involved that existence. Although the Ji family was the most powerful family on the Myrtle Ancestral Star, compared to the Soaring Dragon Ancestral Star, the Ji family's strength was actually on par with the factions and clans that had once produced extreme Dao experts. There were too few extreme Dao experts from the Myrtle Ancestral Star, but there were many extreme Dao experts from the Soaring Dragon Ancestral Star. Alright, what do we do now? He Tian said nonchalantly. He wouldn't waste his time here. If he couldn't open it, then so be it. He was already prepared to leave. Aren't you a formation grandmaster? Why don't you just create a large formation and use the power of the formation to erase the seal of the cave abode? Ji Changkong said with a smile. When Ji Xuanji saw this scene, he couldn't help but be moved. Even the look in his eyes had changed. This guy is actually a formation grandmaster. You really can't judge a book by its cover. What do you know? I, old He, will never do something that's strenuous and unrewarding, He Tian said while shaking his head. What if that's the case? As Ji Changkong spoke, he took out an item. In his hand was a pearl the size of a goose egg. This pearl was actually enveloped by a layer of primal chaos light. This. Are you really going to give it to me? He Tian couldn't help but swallow the pearl in Changkong's palm. He naturally knew the value of this item. Ji Changkong smiled. As long as you help me open this cave abode, this primordial pearl will be yours. Primordial pearl? At this moment, the flying immortal city's city lord, Ji Xuanji, could no longer remain calm. Primordial pearl, that was the legendary primordial pearl. The flying immortal city's city lord's eyes turned red. If Ji Changkong's cultivation was lower than his, he would have snatched the primordial pearl long ago. This heaven-defying item was a supreme treasure that cultivators yearned for. However, no matter how much the flying immortal city's city lord envied the primordial pearl in Ji Changkong's hands, he didn't dare to have any improper thoughts. One must know that the current Ji Changkong was no longer the brat from back then. Ha ha. Alright, it's a deal then. He Tian laughed. He naturally wouldn't do something that was strenuous and unrewarding. However, it was different now. This was the primordial pearl, something that he had always wanted. It turned out that back then, He Tian and Ji Changkong had accidentally entered the real land of flying immortals. In the real land of flying immortals, Ji Changkong had obtained a primordial pearl, while He Tian had obtained another heaven-defying item. This was also the reason why their cultivation had increased so quickly. He Tian had always wanted the primordial pearl in Ji Changkong's hands. For this, he had fought with Ji Changkong countless times. However, in the end, he was unable to snatch the primordial pearl from Ji Changkong's hands. Now, this guy actually used the primordial pearl as the price to ask him to open this cave abode. No matter what, this was a good deal. Ji Changkong took out a primordial pearl. This was a primordial treasure that even He Tian and the flying immortal city's city lord, Ji Xuanji, were incomparably envious. For the sake of this primordial pearl, He Tian directly agreed to Ji Changkong's conditions. He prepared to set up a formation and use the power of the formation to erase the seal of the cave abode. This method was definitely feasible, but it required time. As long as there was perseverance, even an iron pillar could be ground into a needle. Not to mention the sealing power of a mere abode, even an extreme Dao grand array could be obliterated as long as there was enough time. Afterwards, He Tian became busy. For the sake of obtaining the primordial pearl in Ji Changkong's hands, it was as if he had been injected with chicken blood. He set up a formation without rest or sleep. Formation runes were directly shot into the void, but even more runes were imprinted into the depths of the earth. Drawing upon the power of the stars of the 9 heavens and the essence energy of the 9 underworlds, The great formation that Mahakala was setting up was incredible. It could quickly gather great power. Rumble, as the formation continued to be perfected, the power of the 9 heavenly stars was actually drawn. Rays of starlight descended from the sky and directly fell into the formation. At the same time, the earth trembled as if there was an earthquake. The essence of the earth frantically gathered. 3 days later, Haitian finally set up a super-killing formation. This killing formation continuously guided the power of the stars, as well as the life force contained in the earth. Buzz. Haitian stood in the middle of the formation. At this moment, he was like a person who walked out from the primal chaos, giving off a powerful and unapproachable feeling. At this moment, Ji Changkong and Ji Xuanji had already retreated far away. They were very clear that if they were affected, their bodies and souls would definitely be destroyed. At this moment, the cultivators who received the news also charged into the Scarlet Devil Ridge and stopped to watch from afar. They were all incomparably shocked. These 3 guys actually wanted to open the cave abode and had no intention of stopping. Isn't that the flying immortal city's city lord? Someone noticed Ji Xuanji and recognized his identity. Flying immortal city, Ji Xuanji. Within the boundaries of the flying immortal city, the city lord, Ji Xuanji, was definitely the #1 person in this region. Otherwise, the position of the city lord would have long been taken away by others. Who are those 2? How can they stand together with the flying immortal city's city lord? Someone asked. I don't know, I don't recognize them. They look very unfamiliar. A cultivator said. To be able to stand together with the flying immortal city's city lord, these 2 definitely have a great background. An old cultivator said. Haitian and Ji Changkong were unfamiliar faces to most of the cultivators on the Crepe Myrtle Star. Not many people had seen them before, especially Haitian. Ji Changkong was very famous on the Crepe Myrtle Star 10,000 years ago. However, 10,000 years had passed. How many people of the same generation as him could survive until now? Those who could survive until now were the people of the major factions and clans. The cultivators of the smaller factions naturally wouldn't be able to last until Ji Changkong's return. Just as Haitian was arranging the killing formation to break the seal of the mysterious cave abode, everyone in the ancestral god realm's eastern continent felt like a storm was brewing. Ji Yufei was in seclusion. Some people in the eastern continent took advantage of the opportunity when Ji Yufei was in seclusion to gradually become restless. Chapter 3381. In the East Continent, one of the 5 great continents of the ancestral god realm, the news of the primogenitor of the primal chaos Golden Rock's return had already spread across the entire East Continent. However, the news of the primal chaos Golden Rock Kang Q colluding with the demons from beyond the heavens to attack the Golden Crow clan had also spread. This was not a small matter in the ancestral god realm. Colluding with the demons would cause public indignation in the ancestral god realm. One must know that the demons from beyond the heavens were the mortal enemies of the ancestral god realm. Kang Q colluding with the demons from beyond the heavens would definitely make him the public enemy of the ancestral god realm. However, not everyone could be Kang Q's opponent. There weren't many people in the ancestral god realm who dared to provoke Kang Q. It had to be said that the East Continent was definitely the most turbulent region in the ancestral god realm. The Primal Chaos Golden Rock Race's Primal Chaos Golden Rock Race, Kang Q had started one war after another to fight for the territories left behind by the Golden Crow Race. The Golden Crow Race was once the strongest race in the East Continent. The territories they occupied were naturally the best in the entire East Continent. Mines, herb forests, spiritual springs, etc. These were all places that Kang Q had to control. The Chaos Golden Rock Race could only control these places to ensure that the Chaos Golden Rock Race could cultivate in peace and not have to worry about various cultivation resources. However, there were many forces that had their eyes on the Golden Crow Race's mines and herb forests. A divine crystal mine that was originally controlled by the Golden Crow Race was occupied by the Earth Spirit Race. Kang Q had to pay a huge price in order to take back the divine crystal mine. The deity race had taken over a herb forest that was 15,000 miles east of the Golden Rock Race's ancestral ground. Thus, Kang Q had another fight with the deity race. The deity race was incomparably powerful. They actually dispatched an ancestor-level existence. Even Kang Q would find it difficult to take back the herb forest in a short time. The herb forest occupied a vast area with a circumference of 1,000 miles. There were 9 spiritual springs that were gushing out to nourish the land. This place was called the Immortal Medicine Ridge. It was a place where the immortal divine herb had once grown. Of course, the immortal divine herb had already left. Due to the departure of the immortal spirit herb, the spiritual energy in the Immortal Medicine Ridge had decreased by more than half. Even so, it was still the best place to grow spirit herbs in the eastern continent. Moreover, some people said that there was a quasi-immortal divine medicine in the Immortal Medicine Ridge. It was precisely because of this that the deity race took over the Immortal Medicine Ridge. At this moment, in a valley 800 miles away from the Immortal Medicine Ridge, there were many tents set up. There were powerful gods patrolling the surroundings. The place was heavily guarded. Kang Q, Peng Jingtian, and the other higher-ups of the Golden Rock race were sitting in the largest tent. "Ancestor, should we go and invite someone?" Peng Jingtian broke the silence in the tent. "Who is still in seclusion? How can I invite him?" Kang Q shook his head. If they could invite that person over, the predicament they were facing would be easily solved. However, that person was currently in closed-door cultivation. Who would be able to invite him? "I heard that someone is about to come out of seclusion. Can we postpone our operation in the Immortal Medicine Ridge?" Peng Shi looked at Kang Q and said, "The mysterious snake race seems to be counterattacking. We have to prepare as soon as possible." The Golden Rock Goddess said. At this moment, they were basically declaring war against the major forces of the Eastern continent. Even someone as strong as Kang Q would have a headache fighting against those forces. "Then let's postpone it for now," Kang Q said helplessly. The chaotic Golden Rock race was facing their toughest test. They could be attacked by the major forces of the Eastern continent at any time. The chaotic Golden Rock race was no longer the same as before. Back then, the chaotic Golden Rock race was so majestic and had countless experts. But now, the chaotic Golden Rock race was in a miserable state. The remaining clansmen were basically people who had just stepped onto the path of cultivation. They were not simple people to be able to survive the pursuit of the Golden Crow race until now. Although their cultivation was not high, they were all extremely smart. "All of you, leave. Let me have some time alone." Kang Q waved his hand and said, "Yes." Peng Jingtian and the others quickly stood up and bowed to Kang Q before leaving. "Ji Yu Fei," Kang Q muttered to himself. If Ji Yu Fei did not go into seclusion, he would definitely be able to ask him to get rid of the deity race's ancestor in the Immortal Medicine Ridge. The deity race's ancestor was extremely powerful. Moreover, he carried a great treasure of the deity race with him. This was also the reason why it was difficult for Kang Q to take him down. Kang Q closed his eyes and said no more. At this moment, Peng Jingtian and the others stopped outside the tent. Then, Peng Jingtian said to the Golden Rock Goddess, "Go back and take a look." "Yes, Grandpa." The Golden Rock Goddess accepted the order and turned to leave. Not long after the Golden Rock Goddess left, a huge figure suddenly appeared high up in the sky, overlooking the people on the ground. Rumble, a huge hand appeared high up in the sky and slammed down towards the valley where Kang Q was. The entire void shook. A cold laugh rang out from the valley. Then, a figure soared into the sky. In an instant, he arrived high up in the sky and slapped out with his palm. Boom! With a loud bang, the two forces instantly collided. The huge hand that descended from the sky retreated, and the huge figure dissipated in the void. A black-robed old man appeared high up in the sky. "Yu Cheong, what are you trying to do? Do you really want to fight to the death with me?" Kang Q stared at the black-clothed old man. This person was the deity race's ancestor. His name was Ancestor Yu Cheong. It was because of this ancestor that Kang Q was unable to take back the Immortal Medicine Ridge. At this moment, an energy storm formed from the collision of the two forces spread out in all directions. The entire void cracked and a pitch-black spatial crack appeared. However, The mighty power ripples that were descending were blocked by a wave of power. A formation diagram appeared in the void, emitting powerful divine power ripples. But soon, the formation that had appeared in the void disappeared again. I came to tell you that the immortal medicine ridge belongs to the deity race. Don't cause trouble. The black-clothed old man looked at Kang Q expressionlessly and said indifferently, "What did you say?" Kang Q couldn't help but be furious. These fellows who took advantage of the situation were truly despicable. "That's all. If you provoke me again, I'll kill you," the black-robed old man Yu Cheong said. His tone carried a trace of cold killing intent. He was not joking. "Ha ha," Kang Q laughed as if he had heard the funniest joke in the world. "Mph," the old man snorted coldly. He didn't say anything else and turned to leave. "Since you're here, don't leave." Just as the black-clothed old man was about to leave, Kang Q moved. He took a step forward and instantly appeared behind Ancestor Yu Cheong. Without any hesitation, Kang Q swung his right fist and punched at Ancestor Yu Cheong. "You think you can make me stay? Are you kidding me?" After saying that, Patriarch Yu Cheong took a step forward and instantly disappeared into the void. Kang Q's punch landed in the air. There was no point of impact. "What?" Kang Q was shocked. What kind of secret skill was that? To think that he could disappear right in front of me. Just as Kang Q was in shock, a figure suddenly appeared above his head and stomped down on him. Damn it. Kang Q immediately executed his killer move. A pitch-black whirlpool appeared in the void, wanting to devour his opponent. Swoosh. Ancestor Yu Cheong was really devoured by Kang Q's killer move. However, at the next moment, boom! The pitch-black whirlpool that Kang Q had conjured exploded, and a figure dashed out of the void. What? When Kang Q saw this scene, he was extremely shocked. Kill. The black-clothed old man, Ancestor Yu Cheong, sent a punch right in front of Kang Q. The fist was expanding rapidly in his eyes. Kang Q quickly dodged Ancestor Yu Cheong's punch. At the same time, his right leg swept towards Ancestor Yu Cheong's waist like a whip. Ancestor Yu Cheong did not dodge. Instead, he blocked with a single hand. Buzz. The void rumbled as Ancestor Yu Cheong blocked Kang Q's right leg. Then, he moved his leg and kicked towards Kang Q's chest like a venomous snake. If Kang Q was hit by this kick, there would definitely be a bloody hole in his chest. Kang Q hurriedly retreated. However, Elder Yu Cheong followed him like a shadow. The strength of the kick did not change at all. It was still aimed at Kang Q's chest. What? Kang Q's shock was by no means insignificant. He hurriedly soared into the sky and avoided this calamity. Kill. Kang Q roared furiously. As he waved his hands, rays of dazzling spiritual light shot out from his hands and pierced through him. Every ray of divine light emitted a powerful energy fluctuation. This wasn't the power of a quasi-supreme being, but a power even stronger than that of a quasi-supreme being. Kill. Yu Cheong roared and unleashed his killer move. A huge seal appeared above Yu Cheong's head, emitting a torrential divine power wave. Rumble. The huge seal descended from the sky, continuously shattering the void as it pressed down on Kang Q. The void below the huge seal seemed to have solidified. The divine light that Kang Q shot out actually couldn't stop this huge seal. This huge seal continued to press down on Kang Q. Chapter 3382. The deity race was a race that had been passed down for countless years. The race had once produced a supreme ancestor god. They were the inheritors of the supreme path and had an unimaginable foundation. Even the Golden Crow race, once known as the strongest race in the East Continent, was wary of the deity race and was unwilling to provoke them. But now, the deity race had occupied the immortal medicine ridge that originally belonged to the Golden Crow race. This was the place where the immortal medicine had been produced. This area was unusual. Even ordinary spiritual medicines would have their medicinal properties greatly enhanced if they were planted in the immortal medicine ridge. The medicinal properties of the spirit herbs that grew in the immortal medicine ridge were several times stronger than those of the same age in other places. Someone said that although the immortal medicine ridge hadn't produced an immortal medicine for a long time, there was a quasi-immortal medicine. Perhaps the quasi-immortal medicine was the reason why the deity race occupied the immortal medicine ridge. Even when Kang Q came personally, they had no intention of returning the immortal medicine ridge. They even fought with Kang Q. At this moment, the deity race's ancestor, Yu Qiong, and Kang Q were fighting high up in the sky. A giant seal emitted a monstrous wave of divine power and pressed down on Kang Q rumble. The entire void was shaken by the giant seal. Countless pitch-black cracks appeared, as if it was going to collapse and explode in the next moment. Kang Q, who was below the giant seal, was the first to bear the brunt. He felt an endless pressure descending from the sky, almost suffocating him. Roar! Kang Q roared furiously. Divine power surged from his body and ancient divine runes appeared on his body, sealing the void around him. The divine power that descended from the sky was immediately repelled by the divine power that surged out from Kang Q's body. Die! Kang Q threw his head back and roared furiously. He threw a punch at the incoming seal, and 9 almost perfect divine patterns appeared on his fist, drawing upon the supreme power of the divine Tao. Boom! With a loud bang, Kang Q's fist smashed fiercely onto the huge seal that was crashing down. Then, the huge seal actually began to tremble. The might of Kang Q's punch shocked everyone. Damn it! Old ancestor Yu Qiong let out a furious roar. In the next moment, his figure appeared on the seal and he sat down. An extremely powerful ancestor-level power rippled out from the figure. In the next moment, the power ripple that erupted from the seal became even more powerful. Buzz! The void was shaking. That big seal was just faintly visible in the void, but it gave people a feeling of supremacy, as horrible as the arrival of a supreme god ancestor. Ripples visible to the naked eye spread out from the huge seal. Humph! Kang Q sneered. He continued to throw a punch upwards. A violent fist force exploded. The instant the two forces collided, an energy storm spread out in all directions. Two figures were moving quickly. Kang Q and ancestor Overlook Qiong were locked in battle. Kang Q was once an extreme Tao universe enlightened ancestral god, so his cultivation naturally couldn't be underestimated. Moreover, ancestor Overlook Qiong wasn't an ordinary figure as well. When two experts like them met, there would naturally be the most dazzling sparks. Soon, Kang Q gained the upper hand. His fists continuously forced ancestor Overlook Qiong to retreat. Everyone who saw this scene was in disbelief. This is outrageous. Ancestor Overlook Qiong knew that if he didn't use that item, he would definitely not be Kang Q's match. He really didn't want to use that item, but he had to. In the next moment, a ball of divine light rushed out from ancestor Overlook Qiong's body and rushed towards Kang Q. Boom! A terrifying divine power spread out from the ball of divine light. A large area of the void began to collapse, as if a divine sun had appeared between heaven and earth. It was a bone, a golden divine bone that looked like refined gold. As soon as the divine bone appeared, the entire area immediately changed color, and the sun and moon dimmed. A wave of extreme Tao divine power came out from the divine bone. The valley below was shaking, and a killing formation appeared in the void. The entire valley below was covered by the formation. The experts of the Chaos Primordial clan in the formation were shocked. They never thought that Kang Q would use the power of the extreme Tao. Once the power of the extreme Tao was released, even the killing formation guarding the valley below could not bear it. The entire formation became very unstable. Humph! The power of the extreme Tao surged out from the golden divine bone. Kang Q just sneered. This golden divine bone was definitely left behind by our extreme Tao god ancestor. If ancestor Overlook Qiong's opponent was an ordinary cultivator, the golden divine bone could only serve as a deterrent, but it would not really affect Kang Q. That was because he was a real extreme Tao god ancestor in that ancient era. He had once killed his way into the Chaos Demon Realm and killed all the demons in the Chaos Demon Realm. Although his cultivation realm had fallen from the extreme Tao, he still had the body of a real extreme Tao expert. Kang Q was not afraid of the golden divine bone. He directly attacked. What? Seeing this, ancestor Overlook Qiong was shocked. He knew that Kang Q had a supreme master constitution, but he did not expect it to be so powerful. Boom! Kang Q's fist directly collided with the golden divine bone, and a dazzling divine light burst out. The next moment, the vast destructive power directly destroyed the surrounding void. The golden divine bone that released the power of the extreme Tao was actually sent flying by Kang Q's fist. Seeing this, everyone was shocked, especially those who knew about the origin of the golden divine bone. They were even more shocked that Kang Q was so powerful. The battle between Kang Q and ancestor Overlook Cheung was so big that it attracted some powerful existences to watch the battle from afar. Kang Q, you colluded with the extraterrestrial demons to harm the Golden Crow clan. Everyone has the right to kill you. Ancestor Overlook Cheung said in a deep voice. He controlled the golden divine bone and used the power of the extreme Tao to fight against Kang Q. The golden divine light lit up the entire place, dyeing it golden. At this moment, ancestor Overlook Cheung was like a golden battle ancestor that had descended, giving off an indescribable pressure. Haha, is that so? I'm right here. Come and kill me if you can. Kang Q laughed. 9 ancient divine runes appeared on his body, emitting an ancient and vicissitude aura. The 9 divine runes on his body began to gather the power of the extreme Tao. Ancestor Overlook Cheung was both shocked and furious. This guy is too arrogant. Does he think he's invincible? Buzz. Ancestor Overlook Cheung performed a technique and activated the power of the extreme Tao within the golden divine bone. Boundless golden light burst out from the golden divine bone. Golden divine runes began to appear on the golden divine bone. The aura of the extreme Tao spread out in all directions. Countless living beings were terrified to the extreme. The 2 experts faced each other in the sky. This time, both of them used the power of the extreme Tao. This battle was destined to shock the world because it was a contest of power of the extreme Tao. While Kang Q and ancestor Overlook Cheung were facing each other, the Golden Rock Goddess had already returned to the primal chaos Golden Rock Clan's ancestral land. In the depths of the ancestral land, chaotic chi lingered. A figure sat cross-legged in the middle of the primal chaos. The sound of wind and thunder could be heard, shaking the hearts of people. At this moment, outside the place where Ji Yufei was in seclusion, there were many great figures that could shake the entire ancestral god realm. Mo Joyo, the demonic divine venerable, and the 3 gargoyle demons. These guys were existences that could shake the entire ancestral god realm with a single step. When the Golden Rock Goddess arrived, Ji Yufei had no intention of coming out of seclusion. Mo Joyo and the others were waiting. They felt that Ji Yufei should come out of seclusion in a few days. The Golden Rock Goddess was a little disappointed. One should know that the reason she came back was to see if Ji Yufei had come out of seclusion. If Ji Yufei had come out, then she would ask Ji Yufei to take back the immortal Medicine Ridge. Rumble, at this moment, 2 auras of the extreme Tao arrived from afar and directly entered the ancestral grounds of the Chaos Golden Rock race. Even though there was a formation protecting the entire ancestral grounds of the Chaos Golden Rock race, the 2 auras still managed to seep in. The great figures gathered in the ancestral land were shocked when they sensed the 2 auras of the extreme Tao. Then, a few powerful divine senses rushed out from the ancestral land and instantly tracked the source of the auras. Kang Q is fighting with the deity race. Mo Joyo muttered to himself. He knew why the Golden Rock Goddess came back. They must have encountered a powerful opponent that they couldn't handle, so they came back to ask for help. They also knew who the Golden Rock Goddess wanted to ask for help, but unfortunately, Ji Yufei was in seclusion. What's going on? Just when everyone was in doubt, a voice came from the primal chaos in front of them. Ji Yufei, who was sitting cross-legged in the primal chaos, spoke. The 2 auras of the extreme Tao alarmed Ji Yufei. Is Master coming out of seclusion? The demonic divine venerable quickly asked. Not yet. Ji Yufei, who was sitting cross-legged in the primal chaos, replied. Daoist Ji, please make a move. At this moment, the Golden Rock Goddess finally seized the opportunity to speak. Kang Q wants to take back the immortal Medicine Ridge. That's great. Who's going to help them? Ji Yufei said. Everyone was shocked. They didn't expect Ji Yufei to agree so easily. Mo Jiuyo and the rest were hesitant. No one is going to step forward? Then I'll call the names. Ji Yufei said indifferently. I'll go. Chapter 3383. There was an aura at the extreme Dao level coming from the immortal medicine ridge. The aura was too strong. It not only alarmed the experts in the Golden Rock Race's ancestral land. It even alarmed Ji Yufei, who was still in seclusion. Although Ji Yufei was in seclusion. But it wasn't the kind of seclusion where he would die. Even if he was alarmed, there was no danger. At his level of cultivation. Naturally, he knew where the aura coming from in the ancestral land of the Golden Rock Race came from. Who was it coming from? Immortal Medicine Ridge. That was a place to cultivate elixirs. This kind of place. Ji Yufei naturally wouldn't let the deity race take it. He wanted to help Kang Q take it back. Actually, his goal. It was for the legendary quasi-immortal divine medicine. Just before they attacked the Golden Crow race. They had already figured out the actual situation of the Golden Crows. Immortal Medicine Ridge. That was the place they had to get. They couldn't let other forces take it. However, life was unpredictable. Man proposes, God disposes. Just as Ji Yufei and the others were about to attack the Golden Crow race. All the forces who received the news took action at the same time. The Golden Crow race had taken too many good things. Immortal Medicine Ridge. Immortal Tree. East Continent's ancestral vein gathering place. Almost all the best things in East Continent had been taken by the Golden Crow race. Now the Golden Crow race had fallen. Countless experts wanted to take a bite of this fat meat. Even the deity race, who had a very high status in East Continent, was the same. The deity race usually wouldn't intervene in the fights between other races. But this time, they made an exception. At this moment, inside the ancestral land of the Golden Rock race. But no one was willing to help Kang Q. It was a thankless task. Except for one person. That was the demon god. He and Kang Q didn't get to know each other without fighting. In the beginning, they didn't like each other. But gradually, they became good friends. That was why they themselves did not know why they were like this. I'll make a trip there. When Ji Yufei called out the generals, everyone was silent and hesitant. The demon divine lord walked out. All right. Then you should make a trip. Ji Yufei said. Afterward, his figure disappeared into the depths of the chaos. Shua. The demon god did not hesitate. He shot up into the sky. It transformed into a divine rainbow. He disappeared from everyone's sight. It was extremely fast. This guy is rushing to reincarnate. One of the demons behind Mo Jiuyo muttered. This powerful demons was one of the big shots among the demons from beyond the heavens. Compared to Mo Jiuyo, his status was only one level lower. Mo Jiuyo's supreme status among the outer heavens demons was unshakable. Shut up. Mo Jiuyo said solemnly. The leader of the demons was startled. He quickly shut his mouth. He did not dare to speak anymore. The three demons guarding at the side glanced at the leader of the demons. But they did not say anything. However, there was a trace of disdain in their eyes. But everyone could see it. The leader of the demons was very unconvinced. These three stone-like guys. They were just servants of others. What was there to be arrogant about? Naturally, Mo Jiuyo saw all of this with his eyes. But he turned a blind eye to it. He ignored everyone. He just looked at the rolling chaos in front of him. At this moment, high in the sky outside the immortal medicine ridge, two powerful figures were confronting each other. The extremely terrifying aura of the extreme path spread in all directions. Kang Q. Are you really not willing to give up the immortal medicine ridge? Old ancestor Yu Qiong stared at Kang Q opposite him. His face was extremely solemn. One had to know. Kang Q used to be a supreme existence of the extreme path. Even though he had fallen from the extreme path realm. But he still had the constitution of the extreme path realm. His flesh and bones still had the characteristics of immortality. In essence, It was not inferior to the golden god bone in Yu Qiong's hands. However, the golden god bone in Yu Qiong's hands was a real extreme path god bone. The power of the extreme path contained within it was also extremely powerful. It was left behind by a peak extreme path ancestral god. The golden god bone contained a complete extreme path Dao pattern. Its power was naturally comparable to a pseudo-supreme like Kang Q Rumble. The two extreme path level powers were fighting. The void between the two was collapsing and being destroyed. Chaos energy seeped out from the void. There was a pitch-black abyss between Kang Q and old ancestor Yu Qiong. Waves of terrifying destructive aura spread out from the void, which was constantly being annihilated. Just as the two experts were about to fight. Just as the battle was about to start. A beam of divine light descended from the sky. It landed behind Kang Q. "You're here." Kang Q did not turn around. But he was extremely familiar with the aura of the newcomer. "It's you, demon god." At this moment, old ancestor Yu Qiong also saw the appearance of the newcomer. He could not help but be shocked. The demon god race did not have many people in the ancestral god realm. But each and every one of them was an expert. Especially demon god. He was one of the top experts in the demon god race. Seeing that the other party had such a powerful helper, even old ancestor Yu Qiong felt immense pressure. "Mph Yu Qiong. Isn't the heavenly god race always ignoring the outside world? Why are you acting like a bandit today?" Demon god looked at old ancestor Yu Qiong. He laughed coldly. "Robber." Old ancestor Yu Qiong heard that. A pair of white eyebrows immediately stood up. His eyes shone brightly under his brows. "Mph looting a burning house. What are you if not robbers?" Demon god said coldly. "Watch your words. What robber? We are helping the Golden Crow race to look after the immortal Medicine Ridge. Do you understand?" Old ancestor Yu Qiong said angrily. "Ha ha. Good, good, good. To think that we haven't met for 1,000 years. Old man, you sure know how to argue." Demon god laughed out loud. He had been cultivating in the Heaven region battlefield for thousands of years. He would return to the 5 great continents of the ancestral god realm once every 1,000 years. He really did meet Patriarch Yu Qiong 1,000 years ago. If you know what's good for you, then quickly retreat. Otherwise, bear the consequences. Ancestor Yu Qiong's tone was extremely cold. "HMPH. I'm afraid of you, Yu Qiong. If they wanted to fight, they would fight. There's no point in talking more." The thing demon god hated the most in his life was being threatened. After hearing Patriarch Yu Qiong's words, he couldn't help but be angry. "Brother. He's mine. Don't fight with me," Kang Q suddenly said. He didn't seem to take old ancestor Yu Qiong seriously at all. Although the deity race was powerful. But he wasn't a vegetarian either. "Brother. How about I teach this old man a lesson first?" Demon Divine Venerable said. He had no intention of retreating. "Are you itching for a fight?" "Ha ha. Okay. Then I'll let you practice," Kang Q said as he retreated. He was well aware of the demon god's cultivation base and combat strength. The demon divine lord was also a super expert who could use the extreme path power. "Ha ha. Thank you so much, brother." The demon divine lord laughed and strode forward. "You two bastards. How dare you look down on me? I'll make sure you won't be able to cry later." Old ancestor Yu Qiong saw that Kang Q and the demon divine lord didn't seem to care about him at all. He couldn't help but be furious. He gritted his teeth. He couldn't wait to eat those two guys alive. "Phut. Who do you think you are? Extreme Path Ancestor God. You want to fight us?" The demon divine lord said disdainfully. He glanced at the golden divine bone in Yu Qiong's hand. Then he stopped smiling. The golden divine bone in Yu Qiong's hand was extraordinary. Boom. Old ancestor Yu Qiong didn't say anything. He directly waved the golden divine bone in his hand. A golden light turned into a light blade. It directly slashed at the demon divine lord opposite him. The extremely sharp golden light blade directly split open the void. Wherever it passed, An imperceptible spatial crack was left in the void. The demon divine lord sneered. He waved his hands. Black and white yin-yang chi immediately surged out from his hands. It formed a yin-yang diagram. Buzz. The void shook. The golden light blade could not break the yin-yang diagram that the demon divine lord had evolved. The light blade was reversed by the yin-yang diagram. It slashed at old ancestor Yu Qiong. What? Old ancestor Yu Qiong was taken aback. He never expected the demon divine lord to have such a move. It could reverse his attack. How was that possible? Swoosh. Old ancestor Yu Qiong stretched out his hand. A heaven-devouring power immediately appeared on the golden divine bone. He retracted the golden blade of light that he had slashed back at him. The golden light blade, which was as sharp as a heavenly blade, instantly disappeared into the golden divine bone. It disappeared. The demon divine lord saw it. He couldn't help but be startled. The power of the golden divine bone could be released and retracted at will. As a result, the golden divine bone's divine power consumption would be minimized. Go to hell! Yu Qiong roared. He fully activated the golden divine bone in his hand. A powerful force immediately erupted from the god's bone. Boom! An extremely dazzling golden light erupted from the golden divine bone. Countless rays of golden light pierced through the demon divine lord in an earth-shattering manner. The speed was extremely fast. Yin-yang shield. The demon divine lord shouted. He waved his hands. The demon power and divine power formed a yin-yang diagram. The two powers intertwined with each other. They formed a shield in front of him. The countless piercing golden lights were blocked by the yin-yang shield that the demon divine lord had evolved. What? Seeing that scene, everyone was taken aback. No one expected the demon divine lord's defense to be so powerful. Even Yu Qiong couldn't break it with his extreme power. You actually succeeded in taking that step. Old ancestor Yu Qiong stared at the demon divine lord opposite him, as if he had seen a ghost. He was inexplicably shocked. He used the extreme divine bone to launch an attack. The other party actually blocked it with his bare hands. The demon divine lord did not speak. At that moment, countless golden lights dissipated. In the golden light, a figure stood with his head held high with a sword. The power of the demon divine intertwined on the figure. 9 Dao patterns appeared on his body. It emitted a powerful Dao voice. Eat my palm. Chapter 3384. The demon god had arrived. He wanted to challenge ancestor Yu Qiong from the deity race as soon as he arrived. The demon god's power surged from his body. He raised his right hand and slapped Yu Qiong. Rumble. The demon god's power surged in all directions. It was terrifying to the extreme. A giant yin-yang hand appeared in the void and slammed forward like an ancient divine mountain. The void exploded from the impact. Seeing this scene, Yu Qiong couldn't help but be moved. The demon god race's cultivation method was indeed unique in the ancestral god realm. In the entire ancestral god realm, perhaps only the demon god race could cultivate the demonic and divine powers to the point where they could coexist. This was a secret technique of the demon god clan. Demon energy and divine energy coexisted in the body and intertwined with each other. Although the two energies were different in nature, the demon god clan was able to cultivate these two different energies to the pinnacle of balance. Boom! Without any hesitation, Yu Qiong activated the divine golden bone in his hand. A dragon shadow rushed out from the divine golden bone and instantly turned into a golden dragon. Endless draconic chi surged from the golden dragon. The whole world seemed like it was about to collapse. Roar! The golden dragon roared at the sky, and the surrounding void immediately exploded. Everyone who was watching the battle from afar felt the impact. Those with weaker cultivations were directly knocked out by the sound waves and fell from the sky. Although they didn't fall to their deaths, they were still covered in dust and dirt and looked extremely miserable. The great golden dragon charged directly at the yin-yang palm that was slapping towards it. Boom! Under everyone's dumbfounded gazes, the golden dragon collided with the yin-yang giant hand. The golden dragon immediately collapsed and turned into a ball of dazzling golden light. The power of the extreme path suddenly erupted. At the same time, the yin-yang hand also dissipated in the void. A surge of demon god's power of the extreme force erupted. The two extreme force clashed, but very quickly, the two forces intertwined and wore each other down. Most of them cancelled each other out, but a small portion spread out in all directions. It was this small portion of the extreme path's power that formed a terrifying energy storm. The energy storm that descended from the sky directly turned a large area of the mountain range below into dust, and the ground sank. Rumble, the world shook and collapsed. The extreme force surpassed the heavenly way. This kind of power was enough to destroy the world and turn the universe back into chaos. Xiong Kank's extreme Tao-level energy wave couldn't shake him at all. The energy storm that swept towards the immortal medicine ridge was blocked by a large formation. A barrier of light appeared in the void and enveloped the entire immortal medicine ridge. To be able to block an energy storm at the extreme Tao level, this formation protecting the immortal medicine ridge was definitely at the extreme Tao level. It was simply impossible to set up a battle of this level in the current era. Even the fire ape primogenitor, who had escaped from the Earth ancestral vein beneath the chaotic Golden Rock clan's ancestral land, couldn't set up such a formation even though he was a genuine extreme Tao expert. Of course, this formation wasn't set up by the deity race. It had existed since the beginning because the person who set up this formation was Kang Q. However, the person controlling this formation was someone from the deity race. This made Kang Q extremely depressed. After all, he'd spent a lot of time and effort to set up this formation, so the immortal herbridge was extremely important to him. Controlling the immortal herbridge was equivalent to controlling an inexhaustible treasury of spiritual herbs. This was the foundation of the chaotic Golden Rock clan. One could imagine how depressed Kang Q was when he saw the array that he had set up being used against him. At this moment, two powerful figures were moving quickly in the void. Wherever the two figures passed, the void would explode and shatter. The demon god's cultivation and battle prowess were definitely extremely powerful. However, Yu Qiong was not someone to be trifled with. The extreme Tao golden divine bone in his hand was emitting an increasingly powerful extreme Tao power. On the golden divine bone, golden dragon shadows could be seen from time to time. The extreme Tao golden divine bone was an extreme Tao saint artifact that contained extreme Tao power. This power was gradually being guided out by Yu Qiong. This guy, the demon god, felt more and more exhausted as the battle went on. The extreme Tao power that erupted from the golden divine bone made him feel a great threat. The extreme Tao golden divine bone was the deity race's most valuable treasure. It was refined into an extreme Tao saint artifact, so its power was naturally extraordinary. The demon god doesn't have an extreme Tao divine weapon. I'm afraid he'll be at a disadvantage. Kang Q could not help but frown when he saw this scene. With his cultivation, he could naturally see through the battle between Yu Qiong and the demon god. Boom! At this moment, the golden dragon shadow appeared again. The extreme Tao power erupted and directly sent the demon god flying. Roar! The demon god roared angrily as the demon god's power erupted. He was forced to stop in the void as a trace of blood flowed down from the corner of his mouth. Haha, now you're not so arrogant anymore. I wonder who was the arrogant one just now. So this is all you got? Yu Qiong said with a laugh. You, the demon god, was instantly furious. Alright, I'll send you on your way. Yu Qiong said and directly attacked the demon god. The extreme Tao divine power rushed out from the golden divine bone in his hand and once again turned into a golden dragon, fiercely pouncing towards the demon god. You want to send me on my way? Do you have the ability to do so? The demon god roared and directly rushed up. He directly flipped over and rode on the back of the golden dragon. Bam! The demon god was extremely ferocious. He swung his fist at the golden dragon. The heavy fist energy caused the golden dragon to shake continuously. Roar! The golden dragon kept roaring and rolling in the air, trying to shake off the demon god who was on its back. However, the demon god seemed to have taken root on the golden dragon's back. No matter how hard the golden dragon rolled, the demon god was still riding on the golden dragon's back. Bam! 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 Heavy crashing sounds were constantly heard. The demon god punched the dragon again and again. Flesh and scales splattered everywhere. The scene was extremely realistic. Soon, the golden dragon dissipated in the void after being smashed by the demon god's two fists. Everyone was shocked to see that scene. Kill. After the demon god dissipated the golden dragon shadow, he directly attacked Yu Qiong. The demon god's power turned into countless sword shadows and slashed towards Yu Qiong. Yu Qiong raised the golden divine bone in his hand. A ball of golden light spread from the divine bone and shrouded him. The next moment, countless sword shadows fell from the sky and slashed on the ball of golden light. Each sword shadow instantly shattered. I have an extreme divine treasure in my hand. What makes you think you can fight against me? You're overestimating yourself. Yu Qiong said disdainfully. The golden divine bone's power was still recovering as if it was endless. Everyone was shocked. Even the demon god felt something was wrong. He was too careless and underestimated the golden divine bone in his opponent's hand. Kill. The demon god's right hand was already pressing towards Yu Qiong. However, Yu Qiong raised his hand and the demon god's right hand pressed on the golden divine bone in his hand. The next moment, the demon god felt a huge force colliding with the golden divine bone. The next moment, the demon god was sent flying thousands of miles away. His right hand was trembling. What a strong recoil force! Even the demon divine venerable was unable to resist it and was sent flying. Yu Qiong wanted to, "Brother, let me take care of this." At that moment, Kang Q could no longer sit still. The demon god was already at an absolute disadvantage. No one knew what the outcome would be if they continued to fight. While speaking, Kang Q had already come to the demon god's side and hugged the tottering demon god. "Be careful, this guy is very cunning," the demon god whispered into Kang Q's ear. Kang Q nodded and said nothing else. Rumble, a golden divine bone directly smashed towards Kang Q. Wherever the golden divine bone passed, the void shattered and returned to chaos. Keep. Kang Q directly transformed into a black hole and wanted to suck the golden divine bone into it. Buzz. The void space trembled, and the huge hole that appeared in the void space emitted a shocking devouring power. It actually shook the golden bone. However, this scene only lasted for a short moment. In the next moment, the golden bone that seemed to have been shaken seemed to have come to life. It directly shattered space and broke free from the devouring force from the black hole in the sky. The golden divine bone flew back to Yu Qiong's hand. The next moment, it flew up again and turned into a golden dragon, attacking Kang Q. Seeing that scene, many people seemed to be very surprised. Facing the golden dragon that was charging at him, Kang Q only punched out. Bang! His punch landed squarely on the golden dragon's nose. In the next moment, the golden dragon's head exploded, followed by its body. Soon, the entire dragon disintegrated and disappeared just like that. Yu Qiong could not help but be shocked when he saw that. Kang Q's cultivation was much stronger than the demon god. He was a strong opponent. However, Yu Qiong was getting stronger. He had the physique of extreme path and did not have to worry about his body being crippled because there were not many things that could hurt him. ChemPH. Chapter 3385. Kang Q possessed the physique of extreme path. Although he was no longer a extreme path god ancestor, he could still use the power of extreme path. That was the advantage of those pseudo-supreme masters who had fallen from the extreme path realm. Due to Kang Q's unconventional existence, quasi-supreme masters were not the strongest experts below the extreme path. Of course, there were very few people who had fallen from the extreme path realm. At that moment, Kang Q made his move. He had the physique of an extreme path expert, so he was not afraid of the extreme path golden god bone. However, the extreme golden divine bone was left behind by a peak extreme grade powerhouse after all, and contained a trace of that extreme grade powerhouse's invincible will. It was indeed not easy for Kang Q to suppress such an extreme grade saint object. The two experts moved quickly in the void. The aura of extreme path that they emitted shocked the world. All the experts in the ancestral god realm could sense it. On this day, Many old antiques who had not walked in the world for a long time were awakened from their deep sleep. Rumble. The whole world seemed like it was going to explode. Even the experts who were watching the battle from afar had to retreat further away. Who could withstand the terrifying aura of extreme path? Of course, except for Demon God. This guy can actually fight with my brother. Seems like it's not a shame for me to lose. Demon God Venerable's eyes flickered as he looked at the two figures moving quickly in the distant sky. He could clearly see all the moves of the two experts. Chaotic Golden Rock Sword. Kang Q roared and displayed his self-created sword principal killer move. It was an extreme path divine power. A shadow of a chaotic golden rock emerged from his body and soared into the sky. Countless feathers on the chaotic golden rock's body flew up and turned into rays of chaotic sword light. The chaotic sword light broke through the void and reached old ancestor Yu Qiong in an instant. It directly broke through Yu Qiong's divine shield. What? Yu Qiong was shocked. He had underestimated Kang Q's power. Buzz. The extreme Dao golden divine bone in Yu Qiong's hand began to vibrate. An invisible force shook the void, causing the surrounding void to ripple like waves. The chaotic swordlight collapsed in the void the moment the invisible force spread out, and some chaotic Dao patterns dissipated. What? Kang Q was shocked, and he hurriedly dodged. The extreme Dao gold godly bone was extraordinary as expected, and the will contained within it caused even him to be extremely horrified. Kang Q, you're just SOSO. Haha. Patriarch Yu Qiong laughed heartily. TSK, you dare to be so arrogant in front of me just because you picked up a bone from God knows where? Kang Q smiled and said disdainfully. This guy is just relying on that bone. It's nothing. If he doesn't have that bone, I can kill this guy with one hand. What did you say? Upon hearing this, old ancestor Yu Qiong was enraged. How dare this guy look down on me? Damn it. That look in his eyes was too detestable. As the old ancestor of the deity race, Yu Qiong had a high status in the deity race. He was used to being high and mighty, so when had he ever been looked down upon? Humph, don't you know what I'm talking about? If you have the guts, put away that bone and fight me. I'll let you use only one hand. Kang Q looked at old ancestor Yu Qiong coldly and said. Old ancestor Yu Qiong almost went crazy after hearing this. However, he knew that Kang Q was right. If he did not use the extreme Dao Golden God's bone, he would definitely not be Kang Q's opponent. He could not even defeat the demon god. However, with the extreme Dao Golden God's bone, old ancestor Yu Qiong would not be afraid of Kang Q, let alone the demon god. What? Did I say something wrong? Kang Q's face was filled with even more disdain. Go to hell. Old ancestor Yu Qiong was truly enraged. He immediately activated the extreme Dao Golden God's bone and attacked Kang Q like a madman. You! Don't joke around. Kang Q quickly retreated in the void. Old ancestor Yu Qiong's attacks all missed. He did not even manage to touch the corner of Kang Q's clothes. There was no way he could hurt him. Roar! Old ancestor Yu Qiong roared into the sky. The shadow of a golden dragon appeared on his body, emitting an earth-shattering energy wave. He was like a reincarnated expert. However, what drove old ancestor Yu Qiong crazy was that he could not even touch the corner of Kang Q's clothes. He was about to go crazy. At this moment, Kang Q was extremely calm. He was not in a hurry to attack. The angrier his opponent was, the better it was for him. He was purposely provoking his opponent. As soon as Yu Qiong showed an opening, it would be the death of the deity race's old ancestor. Kang Q already wanted to kill Yu Qiong. Just as Kang Q and Yu Qiong were fighting, many mysterious and powerful figures arrived outside the chaotic Golden Rock Group's ancestral land. In an inconspicuous valley outside the chaotic Golden Rock Group's ancestral land, many black figures stood quietly. Are we really going to fight? One of them said. From his tone, one could tell that he was worried about something. Of course. There's no turning back. While Kang Q and the others are not inside, we can take over the ancestral land and take back what belongs to us. Another person said. But Mo Joyo is still inside. That guy is not someone to be trifled with. Someone said something like that. Someone will take care of that old demon. Don't worry. The leader of the black-clothed men said softly. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief when they heard this. They were already very unwilling to face the old devil. One must know that the old devil's prestige was earned through killing. It was unknown how many experts of the ancestral god realm had been killed by this old devil in that battle back then. No one present wanted to face this murderous demon. All right, it's time. Let's disperse. Remember, once the horn is blown, we'll attack immediately. The leader of the black-clothed men said. Yes. All of them hurriedly received their orders, and then they dispersed and vanished into the darkness of space. Not long after, the sound of a horn was heard. In the next moment, countless black figures rushed out from their hiding places and charged into the chaotic Golden Rock clan's ancestral land. Enemy attack. Furious roars were heard from the chaotic Golden Rock clan's ancestral land. All the experts of the chaotic Golden Rock clan who were guarding the ancestral land rushed out to stop the mysterious people. However, the mysterious people's cultivation base and combat strength were very strong. All the experts of the chaotic Golden Rock clan who were guarding the ancestral land were sent flying. What's going on? At this moment, the experts of the demons who were guarding Gu Fei's place of seclusion naturally sensed that someone had charged into the ancestral land. They were very curious as to how those people managed to pass through the formation and suddenly charge into the ancestral land. Go and take a look. Mo Joyo said to an expert of the demon Dao beside him. Yes. The expert of the demons hurried out. Rumble, at this moment, a huge hand appeared in the void and slapped towards the expert of the demons who had just walked out of Gu Fei's place of seclusion. What? The expert of the demons was shocked and hurriedly slapped forward. Boom. With a loud sound, the two large hands violently collided against each other. A frightening energy ripple spread outwards, causing the empty space to tremble. The flowers, grass, mountains, and rocks below were directly turned into dust by the mighty energy ripple. The expert of the demon Dao screamed and was sent flying by a mysterious person. What? The expert of the demons was shocked. The other party had injured him with a single attack. How was he supposed to fight? The other party's cultivation base was definitely higher than his. Acting arrogantly in front of such an existence was no different from courting death. At this moment, a powerful figure walked in from the outside. It was a tall man with a body full of strength. His clothes were tattered and he carried a rusty iron sword on his back. Mo Joyo, where are you? As soon as the big guy entered, he roared and directly attacked the others. He stretched out his hand and directly attacked the stone golem. An incomparably powerful ripple of energy spread out from the giant hand, enveloping the entire area and sealing off the path of retreat for the three golems. The chaos demon ape snorted coldly. With a wave of his hand, the energy that was covering him was instantly broken by him. What? When the tall man saw this, he could not help but be taken aback. These three fellas didn't seem to be easy to deal with. Rumble, at this moment, a demonic hand descended from the sky. Bam! With a bang, the big guy was slapped into the ground, and a huge palm print appeared on the ground. The mysterious people who had just attacked from the outside were dumbfounded. That tall man was an expert. To think that he would be killed by a single slap from the other party. Roar. At this moment, a strong wave of god power erupted from that palm print. It was an extremely terrifying god power. Boom. At the next moment, a loud bang rang out. The ground exploded as a figure rushed out from the ground. Endless god light shone from this figure. It was extremely dazzling. When the powerful beings of the demons saw this, they could not help but be taken aback. Who in the world was this fella? To think that he would be able to survive a single strike from Mo Joyo. This was way too overpowered. To the powerful beings of the demons, Mo Joyo was an invincible existence. But now that there was someone who could stand against him, how could they not be shocked? This was especially the case for the powerful beings of the demons who had followed Mo Joyo. They were feeling extremely uneasy right now. Chapter 3386. In the depths of the unfrequented primordial mountain range was a hidden valley. The entire valley was enveloped by a formation. Even Ji Yufei couldn't see what was inside. Who are these people? A figure stood on a mountain several dozen li away from the valley. Under the night sky, the figure blended perfectly with the surrounding darkness. Even if the cultivation of the clone was similar to or even stronger than Ji Yufei's clone, they wouldn't be able to detect Ji Yufei's presence. Ji Yufei was very patient. He sat down on a boulder on the mountain peak. While Ji Yufei was following Zi Yuntian to the depths of the primordial mountain range, Ji Yuzhong and Xiaoqing returned from the Heaven Realm and returned to Wanxiang City. When Ji Yuzhong and Xiaoqing found out what had happened, they were shocked. Are the cultivation forces of Buzhou Ancestral Star finally coming? Buzhou Ancestral Star was one of the 5 great galaxies with life in the human world. It had once produced an invincible sovereign, and the Ziyun clan was the clan that produced one. Where's my master? Is he still in seclusion? Ji Yuzhong asked Ji Yufei in the main hall of the city lord's estate. Master's real body is in seclusion. He's using a clone. The Iron Blood Daoist said. Ji Yuzhong was Ji Yufei's first disciple. He didn't dare to hide anything and told Ji Yuzhong everything in detail. Master might be going after that guy called Zi Yuntian. The Iron Blood Daoist added after some thought. The Ziyun clan? Ji Yuzhong harumphed coldly in the main hall and didn't say anything else. We should send someone to investigate. Little Qing suddenly said. It should be known that if the powerful clans of the ancestral star of Buzhou really crossed the star field to come here, this was definitely not a small matter. Perhaps all the clans of the Tinglong continent would not sit still. Yes. Ji Yuzhong agreed and ordered the Iron Blood Daoist to send someone to do it. Meanwhile, the ancestral star of Buzhou was in a state of chaos. Many powerful races were fighting each other, and some super factions were preparing to leave for the holy land of the world of cultivators, the soaring dragon ancestral star. It didn't take long for the sun to rise. Ji Yufei's clone was sitting on a boulder, motionless like a statue. Not a single trace of aura could be sensed from his body. It was as if he had blended in with his surroundings. If one did not see him with their naked eyes, no one would be able to sense his existence. At dawn, Ji Yufei woke up from his meditation. He found that the fog in the mountains had not dissipated, which made him feel that something was wrong. He stood up from the boulder and observed carefully. He discovered that not only did the fog above the valley not dissipate, it had even become thicker. Ji Yufei didn't want to alert the enemy, so he continued to wait. However, the 2 fellows who went in last night didn't appear again. I don't believe that you won't come out. Ji Yufei murmured to himself. He had decided to waste his time with Zi Yuntian and his clone. Meanwhile, Ji Yuzhong was frowning in the main hall of the city lord's mansion of Wanxiang City. Zi Yuntian's background was indeed suspicious, as the factions of Buzhou Ancestral Star had yet to travel across the starfields to come here. In other words, Zi Yuntian's identity and even his name were fake. It made Ji Yuzhong both shocked and furious. It seemed like a mysterious faction had their eyes on them. Humph. Those people are courting death, Xiaoqing said. No matter who it was, anyone who dared to target them would end up in a miserable state. The rare phenomenon caused by Ji Yufei's real body and the old tortoise had yet to disappear, shocking both Ji Yuzhong and Xiaoqing, who had just returned to Wanxiang City. It seemed like they had made some progress while cultivating in seclusion. If the 2 were able to reach the quasi-supreme realm, who in the world would dare to provoke them? No one knew when Ji Yufei's real body would come out from seclusion, but Xiaoqing and the others were not worried that they would fail to defend Wanxiang City. Besides, Ji Yufei had also sent out his clone. The Wanxiang City remained peaceful for a few days. There were not many people walking on the streets as all the cultivators were cultivating, causing the city to seem deserted. In a primordial mountain range 10,000 li away from the Wanxiang City, Ji Yufei was getting impatient after wandering around the valley for a few days. As he was about to attack the mysterious valley, a figure suddenly walked out from the entrance of the valley. It was a black-robed man. This black-robed man was extremely tall, like a bamboo pole. However, when he walked, he was completely silent, and his speed wasn't slow at all. The black-clothed man's face was covered, revealing only his eyes. Ji Yufei pondered for a moment before following the man's trail. The black-clothed man carefully traversed through the mountain ridges and dense forests. Soon, the black-clothed man arrived in front of another valley and entered it. This valley was not that secretive, but it was also protected by a great array. The black-robed man walked straight into the valley. There was a transportation formation in the valley. The black-clothed man stepped onto the transportation formation and activated the transportation formation. He was instantly engulfed by a ball of divine light and disappeared into the void. There weren't many people in the valley, only a few black-clothed men walking around. From the clothes on these black-clothed men, it was impossible to tell who they were. These guys are really mysterious. Ji Yufei muttered to himself. He did not want to play the game of cat and mouse with these guys anymore. He walked out from the darkness and charged into the valley at lightning speed, capturing the black-clothed men. With Ji Yufei's cultivation, it was easy for him to take down a valley like this. He didn't waste any time and immediately searched through the soul memories of the men in black he had captured. Soon, he found out some things. These people were indeed from Buzhou ancestral planet, but just as Ji Yufei had guessed, they were not from the Ziyun clan. They were from the Immortal Mansion of Central State. The Immortal Mansion of Central State used to be a superforce on Buzhou ancestral planet, but it was destroyed by Ji Yufei. However, when Ji Yufei attacked the ancestral ground of the Immortal Mansion of Central State, some of the survivors of the Immortal Mansion of Central State escaped. He did not expect the people of the Immortal Mansion of Central State to appear again at this time. I see. Ji Yufei understood. The survivors of the Immortal Mansion of Central State actually had their eyes on him. They were really courting death. He didn't show them any mercy. When he found out their true identities, he killed the remaining members of the Middle Province Immortal Mansion. After killing the black-clothed men, Ji Yufei stepped onto the transportation formation and activated it. He wanted to see where the guy was going. Swoosh! Ji Yufei's figure disappeared into the void. Soon, his eyes lit up and he appeared on another formation. Chapter 3387. The mysterious force had set their sights on the ancestor ground of the Chaos Golden Rock race. This was the place where the ancestor vein of the entire East continent originated from. It was also the best spiritual land in the entire East continent. Some people said that the primogenitor of the Chaos Golden Rock race, Kang Q, was an innate god that was born from the ancestor vein. Of course, this was only a legend. No one knew where Kang Q was born from. Only he himself knew of his own origin. The mysterious force took advantage of the dark of the night to attack the ancestor ground of the Chaos Golden Rock race without any warning, heading towards the depths of the ancestor ground. The people of the Chaos Golden Rock race were completely unprepared. They were defeated right away. The people of the Chaos Golden Rock race and the countless powerful beings that were attached to the Chaos Golden Rock race started retreating towards the depths of the ancestor ground. They knew that that was the only place where they would be safe. Mo Joyo and the other powerful beings were gathered in the depths of the ancestor ground. If those people were to attack, Mo Joyo and the others would definitely not sit idly by. Indeed, the thing that the people of the Chaos Golden Rock race were looking forward to happened. Mo Joyo made his move right away. A powerful demonic energy formed into a pitch-black demonic hand, slapping an extremely powerful being into the ground. However, that fella was no weakling either. To think that he would be able to withstand a blow from Mo Joyo. Roar. After the huge man charged out from the ground, he let out a furious roar and charged towards Mo Joyo. The surrounding space was instantly shattered by his roar. At this moment, Mo Joyo was extremely surprised. To think that this huge man could withstand a blow of his and not die. Furthermore, he seemed to be unharmed. How was this possible? At this moment, there was no time for Mo Joyo to think. Because the huge man had already arrived. Old man, go to hell. The huge man let out a furious roar and threw a punch at Mo Joyo. The moment his fist was thrown out, it turned into a fireball. The fireball lit up the entire heaven and earth. A firefly dares to compete with the bright moon? You must be tired of living. Mo Joyo sneered. After that, he sent a palm strike towards the incoming fist. A ball of demonic light erupted from his palm. Boom! The power of the divine fire and the power of the demonic path collided in an instant, resulting in a huge explosion. The two powers then intertwined and wore each other down, forming a destructive force that spread out in all directions. Rumble! The void around the two experts was constantly being destroyed. It was extremely terrifying. Everyone in the surroundings fled in a panic as if they were avoiding a god of plague. However, there were also a few extremely unlucky fellows who were affected by the mighty destructive force and were directly turned into a bloody mist before dissipating in the void. Seeing this scene, everyone who was fighting on both sides stopped. They were extremely shocked. The two figures separated in an instant. However, they immediately collided with each other and started fighting. The surrounding void was constantly collapsing and chaotic chi was being blasted out. What caused everyone to be indescribably shocked was that this unknown big man was actually able to fight endlessly with Mo Juyu, who had been famous for God knows how many years. Where did this guy come from? The three demons guarding outside of Jiu Fei's seclusion grounds looked at each other in disbelief. One should know that Mo Juyu was the strongest demon in the legends. When they were still small cultivators, Mo Juyu was already an invincible expert whose name shook the world. Mo Juyu's fame was not just for show. It was earned through killing. Who knows? The extreme yin demon Spider shook his head. They were all experts from the chaos demon world. Naturally, they were unfamiliar with everything in the ancestral god world. Naturally, they did not know any experts from the god race. Who are you? Mo Juyu asked as he fought with the big man. The big man did not say anything. He merely snorted coldly and punched towards Mo Juyu with his fists that emitted boundless power of divine fire. Preposterous. Mo Juyu was enraged. How dare this guy ignore him? Damn it. Devour the heavens and earth. Mo Juyu immediately used his self-created killer move. He opened his mouth and inhaled. The void in front of him shattered and was swallowed by him. The big man was too close to Mo Juyu. There was no way for him to dodge and he was swallowed into Mo Juyu's stomach. Everyone was shocked when they saw this. Mo Juyu was too ferocious. He actually swallowed a peerless expert in a single gulp. Old ancestor is mighty. Old ancestor is mighty. The experts of the outer heavens demons cheered. In their opinion, Mo Juyu was an invincible existence. Even in the ancestral god world, there were not many people who could be his match. In the past, Mo Juyu fought against countless experts of the god race in the ancestral god world alone. He killed many famous figures of the god race and successfully protected a group of demons from the outer heavens demon region. At this time, the experts of the mysterious forces who attacked the primal chaos golden rock race were dumbfounded. They thought that the big man would be able to fight against Mo Juyu. Who would have thought that the big man would be swallowed by Mo Juyu? Retreat! Someone shouted. The big man was swallowed by Mo Juyu. If they didn't retreat now, they would probably end up like the big man. Those experts of the mysterious forces who woke up from the shock immediately turned around and fled. Haha! Since you're here, there's no need for you to leave. Mo Juyu laughed heartily as he opened his mouth and sucked. A heaven-devouring force immediately gushed out from his mouth. Miserable shrieks rang out as dozens of experts from the mysterious forces were sucked in and devoured by him. Not bad. It's been a long time since I've eaten such delicious food. Mo Juyu said with a satisfied look. Haha. It's their honor to be able to become food for the ancestor demon. The experts of the outer heavens demons laughed. At this time, the experts of the other mysterious forces were scared out of their wits. Mo Juyu was even stronger and more terrifying than the legends said. After Mo Juyu devoured dozens of experts of the mysterious forces, the demonic aura around him grew even stronger. To a certain extent, the essence of the experts of the god race could be refined by the experts of the outer heavens demons and turned into demonic powers for their use. At this moment, the experts of the mysterious forces turned around and fled. They were in a panic and could not wait to leave this place so that they wouldn't be targeted by Mo Juyu. One had to know that being targeted by Mo Juyu right now was equivalent to being targeted by the Grim Reaper. Not only would they be killed, they would be devoured and turned into Mo Juyu's food. Haha. Run. Run. That's how it'll be fun. Mo Juyu laughed. Hearing Mo Juyu's words, the experts of the mysterious forces felt their hearts tremble as they fled in a panic. Haha. The other experts of the outer heavens demons laughed out as well. However, at this moment, Mo Juyu could no longer laugh. He could feel a surge of energy rushing out from within his body. This energy was extremely domineering. Even Mo Juyu could not help but be shocked. Could it be? Mo Juyu was shocked to the extreme. In the next moment, his stomach swelled up as if something was about to burst out of his stomach. Roar. Mo Juyu roared out in anger. He used all the energy within his body to suppress the energy that was about to burst out. He wanted to suppress this energy. However, things had gone beyond everyone's expectations. Mo Juyu was shocked and furious. He had never thought that something like this would happen. Rumbling sounds came from within Mo Juyu's body. The demonic aura around his body was vast and mighty. It was as if a peerless demonic ancestor had descended. However, there was another surge of energy that was trying to burst out from within his body. What's happening? The experts of the outer heavens demons looked at Mo Juyu worriedly. They did not know that there was an extremely dangerous battle going on within Mo Juyu's body. This was the battle between divine energy and demonic energy. Could it be? At this moment, the experts of the outer heavens demons could feel the powerful ripple of divine energy coming from within Mo Juyu's body. I don't believe that I can't refine you. Mo Juyu gritted his teeth and sat down in the void. After that, he circulated the demonic energy in his body to suppress the other surge of divine energy that was bursting out from within his body. However, Mo Juyu's expression changed very quickly. He realized that the might of the divine energy that was bursting out from within his body was not inferior to Mo Juyu's current strength. This surge of divine energy was difficult to refine. Mo Juyu could only open his mouth and spit out a ball of divine light. The ball of divine light wrapped around a figure. It was the huge expert that was swallowed by Mo Juyu earlier. The ball of divine light that was wrapped around the huge man soared into the sky. In the next instant, boom! With a loud bang, the ball of divine light exploded, and a figure walked out of the exploded divine light. This person was extremely domineering. The moment he saw Mo Juyu, he immediately grinned. His pearly white teeth seemed to be sparkling. Seeing Mo Juyu smiling at him, the huge man became even more enraged. Kill. Without any hesitation, the huge man charged towards Mo Juyu. Chaotic heaven and earth. The big bloke roared in anger and immediately unleashed his killer move. Rays of divine light soared into the sky and turned into a terrifying blade light that slashed towards Mo Juyu. Haha, what a joke. You want to create chaos with just this amount of strength. Mo Juyu laughed in disdain. At the same time, his sleeves fluttered and shattered all the saber lights that were slashing towards him. Chmph. Chapter 3388. Where did this nameless person come from? Mo Juyu couldn't help but be moved. The big man's cultivation and battle prowess didn't seem to be inferior to his. It was rare to find someone with such cultivation in the ancestral god realm. Moreover, those people had fought with Mo Juyu in the past and it ended in a draw. If he were to go all out, those people would have to be cautious. Back then, Mo Juyu used his fearlessness to scare off many experts from the ancestral god realm. Of course, not everyone could be scared off by Mo Juyu's ruthlessness. There were experts from the god race who fought with Mo Juyu and ended up with both sides heavily injured. Mo Juyu could be considered as a legendary existence in the Chaos Devil realm. Otherwise, he would have been killed by the experts from the ancestral god realm. Mo Juyu recognized all the experts in the ancestral god realm, but it was his first time seeing this big man. A person with such cultivation was definitely not a nameless person. Why do you care where I come from? As long as I can kill you. The big man pounced towards Mo Juyu and slammed his palm towards him. Boundless divine power surged out from his palm and formed a huge palm in the void, pressing towards Mo Juyu. This was the power of the extreme way. The moment the big man attacked, this power sealed off all of Mo Juyu's escape routes. The big man's extreme way palm energy sealed off the entire void in front of him. At this moment, everyone had retreated far away and did not dare to approach. After all, a battle between experts of this level was absolutely terrifying. Once one was affected by it, one would definitely end up with the destruction of both body and soul. "I'm just playing with you," Mo Joyo sneered. He leaped from the back of the old bull and pounced towards the big man like a phantom. His entire body seemed to have turned into a bottomless black hole, devouring all the essence energy in the surroundings. Boom! The black shadow that Mo Joyo turned into collided with the huge palm. In the next moment, the huge palm dissipated in the void and turned into the purest essence energy of the divine way, which was instantly devoured. "Haha, such pure essence energy. Give me a little more." Mo Joyo's figure appeared in the void as he roared with laughter. At this moment, the huge man's fist was already right in front of Mo Joyo. Mo Joyo stretched out his right hand to block it. Bam! With a loud bang, the fist and the palm collided. Two powerful forces erupted and Mo Joyo's sleeves were instantly shattered by the force of the explosion. His sleeves fluttered in the air. The big man's sleeves were shredded in an instant, revealing his muscular arm. At this moment, his entire arm was trembling. His flesh, blood, tendons, and bones were releasing a powerful force. Green veins coiled around his arm like horned dragons. On the contrary, Mo Joyo's arm was sparkling and translucent like jade. The muscles on his arm were not well developed. However, many demonic symbols appeared on his arm. Roar! The big bloke roared in anger. Rays of divine light rushed out from his body, turning into heavenly swords that pierced towards Mo Joyo. At such a close distance, the big bloke's cultivation base and battle strength were similar to Mo Joyo's. Even someone as strong as Mo Joyo would not be able to dodge the sword light that shot out from the big bloke's body. However, in the next moment, the big bloke was dumbfounded. The moment the incomparably sharp sword light came into contact with Mo Joyo, it disintegrated instantly, turning into specks of divine light that dissipated into the void. What? The big bloke was taken aback. Right at this moment, a large foot landed solidly on the big man's chest and abdomen, sending him flying. "Kid, the bridges that your daddy has walked on are more than the roads that you've walked on. You're still too green." Mo Joyo took a step forward and caught up to the big bloke who was sent flying. He then stomped down with his foot. Bam! A dull thud rang out as the big bloke was stomped down from the sky by Mo Joyo's foot. Like a meteor, he fell from the sky. Boom! Smashing onto the ground, a cloud of dust rose up into the sky as a huge crater was formed on the ground. Looking at this scene, everyone was dumbfounded. This Mo Joyo had swallowed the big bloke earlier on. However, the big bloke was still able to force Mo Joyo to spit him out. And now, Mo Joyo had once again stomped the big bloke down from the sky. In conclusion, Mo Joyo was the one who was leading this battle. The big bloke was at a complete disadvantage. This was something that anyone could tell. Boom! In the next moment, the ground exploded as the big bloke dashed out from it. Like an unkillable cockroach, he appeared before everyone's eyes once more. "Old fart, are you trying to help your daddy scratch an itch?" "Ha ha ha!" The big bloke roared out in laughter. "Mph, a fella who doesn't know his place." Mo Joyo was enraged. This fella was simply too insolent. In the next moment, he disappeared from the void and reappeared before the big bloke. What? The big bloke could not help but be taken aback. The other party's speed was simply way too fast. "I'll send you on your way," Mo Joyo said coldly. At the same time, Mo Joyo's body erupted with an extreme amount of demonic energy. A demonic shadow dashed out from his body and pounced towards the big bloke. "What is this thing?" Seeing this, the big bloke could not help but be stunned. However, he did not dare to be careless. The blurry demonic shadow gave him an extremely strong and dangerous feeling. This was the most direct reaction an expert would have towards danger. Swoosh! The big bloke immediately retreated. However, the demonic shadow that dashed out from Mo Joyo's body was like a shadow. In an instant, it pounced onto the big bloke's body. In the next moment, the big bloke screamed out in pain. The clothes on his body turned into ashes in an instant. The muscles on his body shrunk at a rapid speed. It was as though all the energy in his body was being sucked dry. Seeing this scene, everyone could not help but be shocked. That demonic shadow was actually able to injure the big bloke that was like an unkillable cockroach. This was especially so for the experts from the mysterious powers. They knew the background of the big bloke. Some of them retreated silently, not wanting to die here. Of course, there were still some who were watching from the sidelines. Even if you're an unkillable cockroach, you still have to die. Mo Joyo sneered. At this moment, the big bloke seemed to have lost. The demonic shadow pounced onto him. The demonic shadow was actually crazily devouring his energy. After devouring a large amount of energy, the demonic shadow gradually became more solid. Just as the big bloke was being entangled by the demonic shadow and was screaming in pain, a powerful fluctuation came from the depths of the Chaos Golden Rock Race's ancestral ground. Is Ji Yufei coming out from seclusion? Mo Joyo's eyes lit up when he sensed the fluctuation. If Ji Yufei was coming out from seclusion, they would have to prepare to return to the Chaos Devil world. After leaving for so long, even Mo Joyo could not remain calm at this moment. The Chaos Devil world was his world. That was where his roots were. However, countless years had passed. He did not know if his inheritance could be passed down. This was also what the other experts from the demons were worried about. Even if they could return, the Chaos Devil world would have changed to a point where they could not even recognize it. At this moment, 3 powerful demonic shadows dashed out from the depths of the Chaos Golden Rock Race's ancestral ground and attacked the other experts from the mysterious powers. Swoosh! Streaks of black spider silk pierced through the void, trapping the experts from the mysterious powers and turning them into dried corpses. Their essence was devoured by the spider silk. On the other side, a demonic ape charged into the crowd of experts from the mysterious powers. Screams, cries, and screams instantly rang out. The demonic ape swung its long arms, sweeping the experts from the mysterious powers away. Some of the experts from the mysterious powers were directly shattered in the void, turning into clouds of blood mist. The dragon head demon was also extremely domineering. It opened its mouth and inhaled, swallowing over a dozen powerful figures into its stomach. The experts from the mysterious powers were scared out of their wits when they saw this scene. They turned around and fled in a panic. However, it was already too late. How could the experts from the mysterious forces contend against the 3 great gargoyles? They've made their move. Ji Yufei is coming out from seclusion. The people from the Chaos Golden Rock Race were overjoyed to see the 3 stone devils taking action. One should know that the 3 demons were Ji Yufei's most loyal subordinates. The 3 demons were only protecting Ji Yufei, who was in seclusion. Everything else had nothing to do with them. Even if the Chaos Golden Rock Race's ancestral ground was attacked again, they wouldn't help. The Chaos Demon apes only had eyes for Ji Yufei. Now, the 3 demons had finally made their move. The only person who could make the 3 demons take action was Ji Yufei. Therefore, Ji Yufei should have come out from seclusion. Sure enough, a figure walked out from the depths of the Chaos Golden Rock Race's ancestral ground. His body was shrouded in chaotic light that could be seen with the naked eye. After this seclusion, Ji Yufei's flesh and bones had become even stronger. Although his cultivation hadn't broken through to the extreme grade realm, his combat strength had greatly increased. Take down these guys. Don't let any of them go. Ji Yufei ordered the surrounding experts. Yes, my lord. The experts immediately accepted the order and attacked the experts from the mysterious powers. In an instant, the experts from the mysterious powers who had entered the Chaos Golden Rock Race were defeated. At this time, the big man let out a furious roar and shook off the black shadow on his body. He directly broke through the void and rushed into the chaos in an attempt to escape. Seeing this, Mo Joyo immediately rushed over and chased after him into the chaos. Chapter 3389. The mysterious force's sudden attack on the chaotic Golden Rock Race's ancestral land caused great damage to the ancestral land. The chaotic Golden Rock Race was both shocked and furious. The ancestral land that had been restored was destroyed again after the battle. Fortunately, the deepest part of the ancestral land was not damaged. This was because Ji Yufei was in seclusion there. Of course, with Mo Juyo's help, the mysterious force was stopped. At the last moment, the mysterious force could not hold on anymore. Ji Yufei came out of seclusion just in time. Therefore, the mysterious force was defeated by the 3 gargoyle demons. The mysterious force was defeated. Apart from a few lucky fellows, all the mysterious experts that attacked the ancestral land of the chaotic golden rock race died. The demons could not wait to devour more cultivators' essence to recover and improve their cultivation and combat power. There was a reason why the demons became the public enemy of the world. This unscrupulous act of devouring other cultivators' essence to improve their cultivation and combat power would directly incur the wrath of the public. Ji Yufei came out of seclusion. There was no longer any suspense in this battle. Even if Ji Yufei did not come out of seclusion, there was no suspense in this battle. Mo Juyo was not to be trifled with. The primal chaos golden rock race's ancestral land regained its peace. Ji Yufei met with Mo Juyo. On a mountain peak shrouded in primal chaos energy, Ji Yufei sat cross-legged on a huge boulder. Behind him stood the primal chaos demon ape and the other 2 golem demons. "When do you plan to go back?" Ji Yufei asked. Mo Juyo, who was riding on the old black bull, naturally knew what Ji Yufei meant. He thought for a moment and said, "The sooner the better." "The sooner the better." "Got it. Let's do it 3 days later at noon. Go back and prepare." Ji Yufei pondered for a moment and said, "All right, let's do that." Mo Juyo nodded and bade farewell to Ji Yufei. Then, he led a group of experts from the Heavenly Demon clan out of the chaotic Golden Rock clan's ancestral land. The chaotic Golden Rock territory was the base camp of the demons after all. The demons had been operating there for countless years. There were definitely a lot of things that needed to be sorted out and taken away. Ji Yufei only gave the extraterrestrial demons 3 days to sort things out. Naturally, the extraterrestrial demons were very busy. "All right, guard outside and don't let anyone in," Ji Yufei said. "Yes, Master." The 3 gargoyle demons walked out from behind Ji Yufei and disappeared into the void. Demon God Venerable and Kang Q are too useless. After the 3 gargoyles left, Ji Yufei muttered to himself. It was just taking back the immortal medicine ridge and chasing away those fellows from the deity race. Was it really that troublesome? In Jiu Rock Beast, which gargoyle demon demonic king god, mountain golden mountain, saint, and god, mountain, golden god, mountain, and god. Should I go and take a look? Forget it, this has nothing to do with me. What's there to worry about? Ji Yufei said and closed his eyes. Soon, he was shrouded in a ball of chaotic divine light. The aura of the chaotic great path lingered in the void. Within the primal chaos divine light, blurry Tao patterns could be vaguely seen. Each Tao pattern exuded an immortal aura. Ji Yufei entered an enviable cultivation state. This was the cultivation state that many cultivators dreamed of. It was similar to an epiphany. That Ji Yufei is terrifying. In the sky, an old man riding an old black bull was talking to himself. He seemed to be walking slowly toward the depths of the starry sky. This old man was Mo Juyo. He noticed that Ji Yufei had become different after coming out of seclusion. He keenly noticed that something had changed in Ji Yufei's body. Mo Juyo might have had a chance of winning against Ji Yufei before he went into seclusion. However, after coming out of seclusion, Ji Yufei's cultivation base and battle prowess might not be any weaker than his. Mo Juyo sighed. The younger generation will surpass us in time. He rode the old black bull and quickly disappeared into the depths of the starry sky. At this moment, 2 powerful auras of the extreme great path surged in the immortal medicine ridge. Kang Q used his extreme great path power, but his opponent's golden divine bone also unleashed an extremely powerful extreme great path power. It was the power of extreme yang. The golden divine bone in old ancestor Yu Qiong's hand emitted a dazzling golden light that dyed the entire sky and earth golden. Kill. Kill. The two silhouettes collided with each other in an instant, causing a deafening explosion. The two silhouettes were sent flying by each other's power. A terrifying destructive power spread out and a large area of the void was annihilated. This was an apocalyptic scene, terrifying to the extreme. Even the demon god couldn't help but be moved when he saw that scene. He hurriedly retreated to avoid the mighty power that could destroy heaven and earth. At this moment, the other clansmen of the deity race were hiding in the immortal Medicine Ridge. The entire area was enveloped by the extreme Great Path formation. The people of the deity race could only hide in the immortal Medicine Ridge to avoid being affected by the explosion of the two experts. "We can't go on like this. We have to help the old ancestor." On a mountain peak in the immortal Medicine Ridge stood a black-clothed young man. Behind him stood 3 black-clothed middle-aged men. The 4 deity race experts on the mountain peak emitted a tyrannical aura of the divine path. They were all true deities. "Young master, how can we help? We don't have the qualifications to interfere in a battle of this level." A slender, black-bearded middle-aged man sighed. "That's right. With our cultivation base and battle prowess, we'll just be throwing our lives away." Another short, hunchbacked middle-aged man said. "Actually, it's not that we can't help." The white-faced, beardless middle-aged man with a black feather fan in his hand waved the feather fan in his hand. He looked extremely shrewd as he stared at the 2 figures fighting outside. "What do you mean?" The young cultivator's eyes lit up when he heard the middle-aged man's words. His face was filled with excitement. "This formation isn't only for defense. It should be able to attack as well," the middle-aged cultivator with the feather fan said. "Yeah, why didn't I think of that?" The young cultivator came to a sudden realization. "Then what are we waiting for?" The other 2 middle-aged cultivators quickly said. They couldn't stay calm anymore. One must know that the other party had 2 experts, while the deity race only had old ancestor Yu Qiong. If they could help old ancestor Yu Qiong and defeat Kang Q, the immortal Medicine Ridge would belong to the deity race forever. The immortal Medicine Ridge was a very important place to the deity race. The spiritual herbs here were too abundant. More than half of the spiritual herbs in the entire eastern continent were in the immortal Medicine Ridge. Chapter 3390. The Heavenly God clan was determined to take control of the immortal Medicine Ridge. They would never give up on it because they would be able to obtain a large amount of spiritual herbs. Using elixirs to nurture the younger generation of the clan would allow their cultivation to increase at a much faster rate. This was the use of elixirs. The purpose of cultivators using elixirs was to increase their own cultivation and combat strength. Because of this, the chaotic Golden Rock clan needed spiritual herbs even more. After being chased by the Golden Crow clan for countless years, the number of their clansmen decreased sharply. Only clansmen with low cultivation were left. Because the Chaos Golden Rock clan's clansmen were not strong enough, they were able to hide in the marketplace and avoid the Golden Crow's pursuit. Now that Kang Q and their ancestor were back, the chaotic Golden Rock clan saw hope. As long as their ancestor didn't die, the chaotic Golden Rock clan would be able to rise again. However, the cultivation of these clansmen was too low. They needed spiritual herbs to increase their cultivation. Therefore, Kang Q couldn't lose the immortal Medicine Ridge. It was too important to him. If he wanted to revive the chaotic Golden Rock clan, the spiritual herbs in the immortal Medicine Ridge were the key. At this time, Kang Q and old ancestor Yu Qiong had already fought their way into the primordial chaos. In the primordial void, the extreme Tao's power was vast and mighty. An extremely powerful extreme Tao's aura surged out from the primordial chaos, causing the entire world to shake. These 2 fellas, the experts watching from afar, were indescribably shocked. Although the cultivation and combat strength of these 2 experts weren't much stronger than them, they could use the extreme path's power. This was the essential difference. "Yu Qiong, die." Kang Q stared at the silhouette in front of him and said in a deep voice. "Chumph, you'll be the one to die." Old ancestor Yu Qiong sneered. Then, the golden bone in his hand turned into a golden ray and rushed into his body. Boom! In the next moment, 9 golden runes emerged from his body. He seemed to have turned into an extreme path expert. A powerful aura of the extreme path spread out, dispersing the chaotic aura in the surroundings. Even Kang Q couldn't help but be moved when he saw this scene. That guy actually fused with the extreme god bone. How was that possible? Fusing the extreme god bone into one's body was definitely an incomparably dangerous thing. If one was not careful, the extreme god bone in one's body would directly explode, and one's body and soul would be destroyed. Haha. Meanwhile, old ancestor Yu Cheong started laughing madly. Kang Q's expression didn't look too good. He didn't expect the other party to have such a trick up their sleeves. It seemed like the deity clan's inheritance in the Eastern continent wasn't due to luck. I told you, the one who will die today will be you. Ancestor Yu Cheong retracted his smile and said coldly while staring at Kang Q. Then bring it on. Kang Q crooked his finger at Ancestor Yu Cheong and said in disdain. Shua. In the next moment, old Ancestor Yu Cheong's figure disappeared into the void without a trace. Such a method was truly terrifying. However, Kang Q soared into the sky without hesitation. As expected, a figure suddenly appeared in the void. The place where the figure appeared was exactly where Kang Q had been standing earlier. If Kang Q was half a step slower, he would have been hit by old ancestor Yu Cheong. So fast. Kang Q was shocked upon seeing this. After fusing with the extreme godbone, both his strength and speed had improved. Wang. At this moment, a sword hum rang out. Streaks of extremely sharp sword light shot out from old ancestor Yu Cheong's body, piercing towards Kang Q with overwhelming force. Chimph. Kang Q sneered coldly. A ball of divine light burst out from his body. The countless sword rays were reflected when they struck the layer of divine light. What? Old ancestor Yu Cheong was dumbfounded. The sword ray he had unleashed was of the extreme god realm, but it was blocked by a ball of divine light that emerged from his opponent's body. To old ancestor Yu Cheong, Kang Q was merely someone who had fallen from the extreme god realm. Even though he was stronger than a quasi-extreme god realm supreme, it was still difficult for him to go against the extreme god sword ray. Rumble. Kang Q fought back. He waved his fists and clashed with old ancestor Yu Cheong. The entire chaotic void was boiling as powerful energy waves spread in all directions. This guy, old ancestor Yu Cheong, was shocked. Kang Q was like an undying cockroach. Even if he was sent flying, he would immediately rush back to kill. Boom. Bang. The two figures were like gods and demons in the chaos, fighting with all their might. They wanted to completely defeat and eliminate each other. What's going on? At that moment, outside the chaotic void, everyone anxiously looked at the pitch-black hole in the sky. The two extreme god realm auras were coming from it. Demon God wanted to rush into the chaotic void, but he immediately stopped as soon as he took a step. He stood guard outside the chaotic void. Brother, don't fail miserably. Demon God could not help but worry for Kang Q. Even with his cultivation base, it was difficult for him to see the two figures fighting in the chaotic void. Because the chaotic void was in complete chaos, no one could use their divine senses to investigate what was happening inside. Not even an expert like Demon God could do it, let alone other cultivators. However, at that moment, the extreme god formation that shrouded the entire immortal medicine ridge suddenly changed. Swoosh. A strong light suddenly rushed out from the peerless formation and pierced through the demon god in the sky. A powerful wave of extreme god realm energy burst out from the strong light. What? The demon god was taken aback and quickly dodged the sudden glaring light. However, his clothes were still swept by the divine light. The parts of his clothes that were swept by the divine light immediately turned into dust and dissipated in the void. This monster god venerable was shocked again. How dare those bastards from the celestial god clan sneak attack me? They must be tired of living. Kill. Enraged, the demon divine venerable slammed his palm towards the immortal medicine ridge below. A huge hand immediately appeared in the void. Monster god venerable was shocked again. How dare those bastards from the celestial god clan sneak attack me? They must be tired of living. Kill. Enraged, the demon divine venerable slammed his palm towards the immortal medicine ridge below. A huge hand immediately appeared in the void. Chapter 3391. Kang Q and Old Ancestor Yu Cheong fought in the chaos. A terrifying aura of the extreme path spread out from the depths of the chaos, causing the experts in the vicinity to tremble. That was the power of the extreme path. Although it was not the real extreme path, it was enough to frighten a quasi-supreme level expert. Rumble, high up in the sky, in the broken void, the chaos chi was vast and mighty. From time to time, rays of divine light broke through the chaos and pierced through the void. Just as Kang Q and Yu Cheong were engaged in a life-and-death battle in the depths of the chaos, there was a huge change in the immortal Medicine Ridge. The defensive extreme path formation had turned into an offensive formation. Swoosh! A dazzling divine light rushed out from the formation's eye and pierced through the demon god in the sky. Wherever it passed, the void was annihilated, leaving behind a pitch-black spatial crack. That was the power of the extreme path. It could shatter the void and was extremely powerful. The demon divine lord quickly dodged. Preposterous. He was furious. These guys are simply courting death. You should be happy that I didn't attack you. How dare you provoke me? Kill. Without any hesitation, the monster god roared and slammed his palm down. The powerful monster god's power erupted and a huge hand appeared high up in the sky. Rumble, the giant hand condensed from the demon god's power emitted a terrifying wave of energy. It was like a primordial divine mountain as it obliterated the extreme path formation below. The giant hand that was bigger than a mountain covered the entire sky. It shocked and terrified the deity clansmen in the immortal Medicine Ridge. Boom! As the giant hand fell, the void was directly obliterated. The formation that enveloped the entire immortal Medicine Ridge shook. Lines of formation patterns appeared in the void and intertwined into a mysterious formation diagram. The demon god's big hand directly fell on the big formation, but it was blocked by the formation map. Swoosh! Another beam of divine light rushed out from the formation eye of the extreme Tao formation. The beam of divine light was so powerful that it instantly pierced through the demon god's giant hand condensed by the demon god's power and directly pierced through the demon god. The demon divine master did not confront the power of the polar great formation head-on. He dodged it in a flash and pounced on the polar great formation below. Haha, this fellow actually walked right into the trap. His courting death. In the formation eye of the extreme path formation, a black-clothed young cultivator laughed out loud. He was the one who triggered the extreme path formation's power to attack the demon god. However, the demon divine lord was an ancestor-level existence after all. How could he be so easily fooled? Boom! At that moment, a powerful devouring force surged out from the formation eye and instantly swallowed the demon god who was swooping down from the sky. The demon god who was swallowed into the formation eye of the extreme great formation sneered. He did not panic at all, but instead showed a hint of pride on his face. Go to hell! In the formation eye, the black-clothed young man, Mu Ge, stared at the figure in front of him who was trapped by countless formation patterns with a hint of madness in his eyes. With his cultivation base, he was not qualified to compete with an ancestor-level existence like the demon god. However, he now possessed a powerful power that could kill an ancestor-level existence. To Mu Ge, the feeling of wielding great power made him extremely excited. Under Mu Ge's control, the formation patterns that trapped the demon god immediately changed, intertwining and condensing into a killing map. It was a polar great formation that directly obliterated the demon god. The power of the polar great path sealed all the demon god's escape routes. The immortal Medicine Ridge's great formation was set up by Kang Q when his cultivation base and combat power were at their peak. It could be said that even if a real extreme Tao god ancestor came, it could still resist for some time. However, the demon god was not an extreme Tao god ancestor. However, the Great Formation could not hurt him because he already knew the truth of the Great Formation from Kang Q. In fact, when Kang Q decided to attack the Golden Crow clan, he had already told the demon god about the immortal Medicine Ridge. Although the demon god was trapped in the polar Great Formation, he was still calm. Rumble, the demon god sneered when he saw the formation patterns emitting a terrifying aura of destruction coming toward him. The moment the formation patterns were about to be obliterated, the demon god flipped his right hand and a divine bead appeared in his hand. The next moment, countless formation patterns rushed out from the divine bead in the demon god's hand. The formation patterns that were about to obliterate the demon god dissipated in the void and were assimilated by the formation patterns that rushed out from the divine bead. What? The young cultivator, Mu-Ji, was dumbfounded when he saw that scene. Soon, a scene that shocked Mu-Ji even more appeared. The divine bead in the demon god's hand flew up and emitted the most dazzling divine light. Within the divine light, there were looming divine patterns. Mu-Ji could clearly sense that he had lost control of the entire Great Formation. How did this happen? He wanted to activate the power of the Great Formation, but there was no movement. How is this possible? Mu-Ji's shock was no small matter. Young lord, we have to retreat. At this moment, the middle-aged man with the black feather fan appeared behind Mu-Ji. Damn it. Mu-Ji was very unwilling, but he had no choice. He knew very well that the demon god was trying to seize control of the entire Great Formation. How did he do it? No one answered. Once the control of the killing formation fell into the hands of the demon god, he would die without a burial place. That was definitely not the ending that Mu-Ji wanted. Therefore, he could only escape. Haha, are you going to run away with your tail between your legs? The demon god said with a laugh. His tone was full of disdain. It turned out that a young boy was controlling the killing formation. How ridiculous. He naturally would not let that guy go, but it was not easy to catch that guy because he had yet to fully control the Great Formation. The demon god desperately urged the power of the demon god in his body, and the formation inside the divine bead suspended above his head was constantly recovering. There was actually a great formation inside the divine bead. The Great Formation inside the divine bead and the immortal medicine ridge's great formation came from the same source. The divine bead in the demon god's hand could control the entire Great Formation. That was the reason why the demon god was not afraid of being devoured by the killing formation. That divine bead was given to the demon god by Kang Q. With that divine bead, the demon god could control the entire Great Formation and regain control of the Great Formation. This, all the experts who saw that scene could not help but be moved. At that moment, the heavenly god clansmen in the immortal medicine ridge were dumbfounded by the sudden upheaval. When Mu-Ji was taken away by the three experts, the demon god finally gained full control of the immortal medicine ridge's great formation. However, it was already too late. Damn it! The demon god roared at the sky. The entire Great Formation shook. He grabbed the divine bead in his hand. At that moment, he had already gained control of the entire Great Formation. It was a force so powerful that it could compete with a true extreme grade expert. In the next moment, rays of destructive divine light descended from the sky and fell on the heavenly god clansmen in the immortal medicine ridge. Run! A loud shout came from the immortal medicine ridge. Then, a group of incomparably powerful figures rushed out of the immortal medicine ridge. However, the divine light that descended from the sky still fell on them. Then, almost all of the unlucky heavenly god clansmen were blasted into clouds of blood mist. Their bodies and souls were directly destroyed. Mu-Ji, who had already escaped from the extreme grade Great Formation, couldn't help but be shocked and angry when he saw that. That fella was really ruthless. At that moment, there were only a dozen heavenly god clansmen who survived in the immortal medicine ridge. However, hundreds of heavenly god clansmen were actually killed by the demon god's attack. Young lord, run! The three experts protected Mu-Ji and immediately fled. They did not dare to stay. Swoosh! A divine rainbow shocked the sky. 10 rays of destructive divine light directly rushed out of the Great Formation and pierced through Mu-Ji and the others. You want to kill us all? The slender and thin middle-aged man said angrily. He then turned around and threw out an item. The item instantly enlarged, and the 10 rays of divine light directly collided with it. In the next moment, the item directly shattered in the void, turning into specks of golden light and dissipating. As for Mu-Ji and the other two, they crushed a jade talisman and disappeared into the void, escaping without a trace. Chmph, count yourself lucky. The demon god was naturally displeased to see the four guys actually escaped. Therefore, the dozen heavenly god clansmen in the immortal Medicine Ridge were going to be unlucky. There was no suspense. The immortal Medicine Ridge was enveloped by the extreme grade Great Formation. Although the dozen heavenly god clansmen could survive the divine light attack, it was difficult for them to survive the demon god's attack. The extreme grade Great Formation was activated. None of the dozen heavenly god clansmen could resist the extreme grade Great Formation and survive. All of them were destroyed by the extreme grade Great Formation. It could be said that apart from old ancestor Yu Cheong, Mu Ji, and the other three, the heavenly god clansmen were all annihilated. It was definitely a heavy loss for the heavenly god clan. I can't believe we took back the immortal Medicine Ridge so easily. The demon god did not expect that he could take back the immortal Medicine Ridge with his own strength. Of course, this was the credit of the divine pearl that Kang Q gave him. If it was not for that divine pearl, he would not have been able to control the extreme grade Great Formation so easily and counterattack the heavenly god clansmen. Just as the demon god took back the immortal Medicine Ridge from the heavenly god clan, He Tian and Ji Changkong ran into trouble on the ancestral star of Crepe Myrtle. Chapter 3392. The reason why the Scarlet Demon Ridge was called the Scarlet Demon Ridge was definitely not without reason. Originally, Ji Changkong and He Tian did not know why this mountain range was called the Scarlet Demon Ridge. However, when they broke the seal of the cave, they knew the reason. The instant He Tian used the power of the formation to break the seal of the cave, he was elated. However, in the next moment, the tightly shut stone door of the cave exploded with a boom. When a wave of demonic energy directly rushed out from inside, he could no longer feel happy. What's going on? Ji Changkong was also shocked. He saw more and more demonic energy rushing out from the cave. The demonic energy spread out and quickly enveloped an area of the void. A demonic aura that caused even He Tian and Ji Changkong's hearts to palpitate surged out from the entrance of the cave that was spewing demonic energy. Fuck, this is too much. Ji Xuanji, I greet your 18 generations of ancestors. He Tian cursed. He was not like Ji Changkong. The flying immortal king, Ji Xuanji, was still his uncle. No matter how much Ji Changkong wanted to scold Ji Xuanji, he could not do so. Ji Xuanji was not far away. When he heard He Tian's curses, his old face turned red, but he did not say anything. One must know that He Tian was a quasi-supreme. His cultivation was higher than Ji Xuanji's, and his battle prowess was stronger than Ji Xuanji's. Even if He Tian pointed at Ji Xuanji's nose and cursed, he would not even dare to let out a fart. In the world of cultivation, strength was everything. He Tian was not a member of the Ji clan, so he did not have any misgivings. Rumble, at this moment, the mountain range where the cave was located began to shake. Countless stones and sand rolled down from above. The sound of the boulders rolling down echoed in the mountain range. Then, the sound of heavy footsteps came from the entrance of the cave. Step by step, a black figure appeared in the demonic energy. Two bloody lights appeared in the demonic energy. What? A blurry demonic figure appeared. The two blood-red lights were the eyes of the unknown demonic figure. When He Tian and Ji Changkong saw that demonic figure, they could not help but be moved. This ferocious devil had been sealed for countless years, yet it was still so terrifying. It could be seen how powerful this ferocious devil was back then. Who cares what kind of demon he is? Kill him all the same. He Tian stared at the demonic figure in the demonic aura in front of him and said fiercely. Then, he directly activated the killing array and countless array diagrams appeared in the void. In the next moment, rays of divine light immediately rushed out of the formation and turned into extremely sharp sword lights, piercing towards the demonic shadow in front of them. He Tian was an array formation grandmaster. The power of his array formation would increase along with his cultivation. The power of this killing array would definitely be strong enough. This killing formation could definitely refine ordinary quasi-supreme beings to death. However, the moment the sharp sword lights that rushed out of the formation came into contact with the demonic aura, they instantly dimmed. Before they could pierce the demonic figure, all the sword lights had already completely dissipated. Seeing this scene, Everyone was shocked, especially He Tian. No one was clearer than him about the power of this killing array that he had set up. This killing array could condense the power of the peak quasi-supreme realm. It was equivalent to a peak quasi-supreme realm existence attacking with all his strength. However, the demonic figure that came out of the cave had already dissolved the attack of the killing array without even making a move. This caused He Tian to be shocked. How could this be? Could it be that we have released a supreme demonic ancestor? Ji Changkong said to He Tian. He had a bad premonition. The demonic figure in front of them seemed to be ridiculously strong. If this demon was really a supreme demonic ancestor, then they would be in big trouble. At this moment, all the experts who were watching from afar were indescribably shocked. They could only see demonic aura surging in front of them. Everyone was terrified. Is that the legendary demonic aura? Some of the older generation experts cried out in alarm. What? Demonic aura? Some of the cultivators from the major forces and clans couldn't help but change their expressions when they heard this. There had never been a powerful demon in the history of the ancestral star. However, there were still legends about demons in the ancestral star. The reason why the Scarlet Demon Ridge was called the Scarlet Demon Ridge was because of the legend that an extremely terrifying demon had fallen here, hence the name. However, no one knew what the truth was. What should we do? The flying immortal king, Ji Xuanji, looked at the indistinct demonic figure in the demonic aura. His voice was trembling. At this moment, he was filled with regret. He really shouldn't have told Ji Changkong about the cave in the Scarlet Demon Ridge. However, it was too late now. What else can we do? Fight to the death with this demon. He Tian looked at the flying immortal king with disdain. Fight to the death. The flying immortal king was startled when he heard this. He didn't want to die. Fighting to the death with that demon? Wasn't that the same as courting death? This daddy wouldn't do such a thing. At this moment, He Tian had no time to care about the flying immortal king. He channeled all his strength into the killing formation and a shocking killing intent immediately erupted from it. Rumble. The heavens and earth shook as countless formation runes appeared in the void. Formation runes also appeared on the ground. This grand formation was connected to the heavens and earth, drawing in the energy of the heavens and earth. A terrifying destructive energy rushed towards the demonic figure from all directions, causing a large amount of demonic aura to dissipate in the void. One formation diagram after another pressed forward, each of them exuding a terrifying power of destruction. The void was directly annihilated, and even the chaotic aura seeped in through the broken void. At this moment, the demonic figure in the middle of the demonic aura finally moved. The demonic figure waved his hands and a vast demonic energy spread from his hands. The demonic energy from the demonic figure's hands actually blocked the destructive power of the grand formation. The demonic figure shook his hands, and the mighty demonic power instantly increased by a large margin. The impact of the impact caused the formation to shake continuously. In the next moment, the formation runes were corroded by the demonic aura and gradually dimmed, as if it could dissipate at any time. Damn it! He Tian roared in anger, madly urging the power of the grand formation. Countless formation runes began to interweave, forming a heavenly furnace, intending to refine everything in the furnace into ashes. Countless demonic aura dissipated in the void, destroyed by He Tian's killing formation. The demonic figure was indescribably shocked. He didn't expect the killing formation to be so powerful. Kill. He Tian continuously guided all the power of the killing formation like a madman. Countless formation runes condensed into a furnace. Everyone felt very hot, as if they were in a steamer. When Ji Changkong, who was at the side, saw this scene, he was also shocked by the ferocity that He Tian displayed. At this moment, a muffled sound came from the center of the killing formation. Then, a strong demonic energy exploded and the entire grand formation was immediately affected. The demonic figure made a move. Naturally, when a demonic figure makes a move, it is not ordinary. A ball of demonic light shone from within He Tian's killing formation. Everywhere the demonic light passed, countless formation runes were destroyed by the demonic energy. Even the formation runes were the same. They could not withstand the demonic energy from the killing formation. Rumble, the killing formation that He Tian laid down was actually collapsing. In the face of absolute power, He Tian's killing formation was nothing at all. This was because the demonic energy from the demonic aura was at the extreme Dao level. The extreme Dao level demonic energy was not something that He Tian and Ji Changkong could resist. Although they were already quasi-supremes, the other party could very well be an extreme Dao demonic ancestor. There was no doubt that the extreme Dao demonic ancestor was very strong. This is preposterous. When He Tian saw that his killing formation could not trap the demonic figure, he did not panic. Instead, he extended his hand towards Ji Changkong, who was beside him. When he saw He Tian suddenly extending his hand towards him, he was confused. He did not know what He Tian meant at all. Primordial Chaos Pearl. He Tian said anxiously. The killing formation that he laid down was collapsing. It seemed like the situation was hopeless. What do you want the Primordial Chaos Pearl for? Ji Changkong found it strange. To lay down a formation, of course. What else can I do? He Tian said impatiently. When Ji Changkong heard that, he did not say anything else. He took out the Primordial Chaos Pearl and carefully handed it to He Tian. He Tian quickly took the Primordial Chaos Pearl and threw it into the formation core that had not collapsed yet. In the next moment, a supreme chaotic force surged out from the crucial point of the formation. The inscriptions that had dispersed in the surroundings condensed once again. The energy contained in the Primordial Chaos Pearl was too vast. He Tian carefully guided the energy of the Primordial Chaos Pearl. The killing formation reassembled itself and the shocking killing intent appeared again. The demonic aura that surged out from the entrance of the cave did not stop. It seemed like there was an endless amount of demonic aura inside. The demonic aura that had erupted was forced back into the void in front of the entrance of the cave by the power of the killing formation. The demonic figure was faintly discernible in the demonic aura. It emitted an aura that made all living beings' hearts palpitate. 2 spots of bloody light flickered in the demonic aura. It seems like I worried too much. At this moment, He Tian heaved a sigh of relief. The other party was actually forced back by the power of his killing formation. It seemed like the other party was not a real extreme Dao demonic ancestor. Of course, even if this fellow was not an extreme Dao demonic ancestor, his cultivation and battle prowess were enough to make He Tian and Ji Changkong's hearts palpitate. If Ji Yufei was here, he would naturally be able to see through this ferocious demon with one look. This ferocious demon should be a former extreme Dao demonic ancestor that had fallen from the extreme Dao realm. Since this ferocious demon was not an extreme Dao demonic ancestor, things would be easy to handle. Don't let this fellow escape. Chapter 3393. He Tian and Ji Changkong had inadvertently released an old demon that had been sealed for countless years. This made everyone extremely nervous. At this moment, many experts from the major factions had gathered outside the Scarlet Demonic Ridge. They were all shocked when they saw the demonic aura in the Scarlet Demonic Ridge. There really is a demon in the Scarlet Demonic Ridge. How is this possible? Everyone found it hard to believe. It should be noted that there had never been any powerful demons on the ancestral star of Crepe Myrtle since ancient times, but the vast demonic aura in the Scarlet Demonic Ridge was extremely powerful. Even some existences that were about to become quasi-supremes felt their souls trembling, as if there was an invisible demon staring at them from the unseen world. The news of a demon appearing in the Scarlet Demonic Ridge quickly spread. The higher-ups of the major factions on the ancestral star were shocked. They all sent experts to the Scarlet Demonic Ridge. Even the Ji clan sent an ancestor-level existence to the Scarlet Demonic Ridge. Ji Changkong had already appeared. This made Emperor Ji, the head of the Ji clan, very uneasy. It should be known that his methods in the past were not very honorable. Of course, if Emperor Ji had not done so back then, he would not have become the head of the Ji clan. Ji Wu's death made Emperor Ji feel the threat of Ji Changkong. If he did not get rid of this person, he would not be able to sit still. However, he could not do it openly. The ancestor-level existence sent by Empress Ji was someone from Empress Ji's bloodline. Of course, even after tens of thousands of years had passed, Ji Changkong's bloodline would still support Ji Changkong when they heard that he had returned. The Ji clan had existed for countless years. Naturally, it was divided into many branches. The position of the head of the Ji clan was decided by the descendants of the core branches. Ji Changkong's branch of the Ji clan was one of the core branches. When Emperor Ji sent an ancestor-level expert to the Crimson Devil Ridge, an elder of Ji Changkong's branch also left for the Crimson Devil Ridge. In another region of the ancestral star, in the Yun clan's ancestral land, a white-haired, white-browed youth walked out. He looked very young. This white-robed youth's appearance was 70% to 80% similar to the missing Yun Tianzhao. The white-robed youth took a step forward and instantly disappeared into the void without a trace. When Yun Tianzhao and Ji Fan were exploring the land of flying immortals, both of them went missing. No one knew if they were alive, and no one knew if they were dead or alive. This incident shook the entire ancestral star of crepe myrtle. Especially the Ji clan and the Yun clan, these two great clans almost went to war because of this matter. One must know that Ji Fan was the son of Empress Ji, and Yun Tianzhao was the most important figure in the younger generation of the Yun clan. Both of them disappeared at the same time, causing a crisis. Although the Ji clan was the most powerful force in the ancestral star, the Yun clan was not weak either. If a war were to break out between these two forces, the consequences would be dire. Even if the Ji family could defeat the Yun family, they would have to pay a heavy price. This price was not something the Ji family could bear. In the entire ancestral star, there were several powerful forces eyeing the Ji clan covetously. Many of them wanted nothing more than to see the Ji clan decline and replace it. The Ji clan had ruled the ancestral star for far too long. At this time, in the depths of the Crimson Demonic Ridge, He Tian desperately operated the killing formation, wanting to fight to the death with the mysterious fiend trapped in the formation. At the end of the day, he was the one who released the fiend. He was the one who caused the trouble, so he had to solve it himself. Raw. Formation runes rushed out from all over He Tian's body and circled around him. At this moment, he had become one with the entire killing formation. The formation was the man, and the man was the formation. This was the realm of one with the formation. With He Tian's cultivation base as a formation master, it was not difficult for him to display such a divine ability. This, old He, I can't help you. You'd better send me out of the formation first. Ji Changkong hurriedly said. If He Tian fought the fiend with his life and he could not help, wouldn't he become a burden? Most importantly, he would be the first to bear the brunt of the impact. All right. He Tian did not waste any time. He waved his right hand and Ji Changkong felt his body tighten. His entire body flew out of the formation involuntarily. In the killing formation, He Tian was the supreme ruler, ruling over everything. Little fellow, are you seeking death? At this moment, a voice rang out in He Tian's mind. Seeking death? He Tian sneered disdainfully. I've died countless times and experienced countless reincarnations. The person who can kill me has yet to appear in this world. Little fellow, if you know what's good for you, remove the formation. Otherwise, when this ancestor personally makes a move, you will be consigned to eternal damnation. That voice rang out in He Tian's mind again. Haha, I'm very curious how you are going to consign me to eternal damnation. He Tian laughed heartily. The clump of devil chi that was trapped by the killing formation was churning violently, wanting to rush out. However, at this moment, the grand formation was indestructible. Even if some of the runes were corroded by the devil chi and dissipated into the void, new runes would immediately appear to repair the formation. He Tian laughed heartily. I didn't expect you to have cultivated the Tao of formations to such a level. No wonder you are so arrogant. That voice continued. Let me send you on your way. He Tian did not waste any more words and directly activated the killing formation. Boundless yin and yang qi immediately surged out from the killing formation, destroying the demonic qi in the formation. A yin-yang diagram appeared in the killing formation. Little fellow, you are still too inexperienced. At this moment, the mysterious great demon that was trapped in the formation also made a move. The demonic chi quickly gathered and the figure of a strange beast appeared within the demonic chi. Roar. The strange beast raised its head to the sky and roared. Although it was only a phantom formed from demonic chi, an earth-shattering roar resounded in He Tian's ears. What's the use of struggling in the face of death? He Tian saw this scene and said disdainfully. At this time, under He Tian's control, the yin-yang diagram condensed from the killing formation directly obliterated the strange beast, annihilating the void. The strange beast in the demonic chi directly slammed its claw towards the yin-yang diagram that was descending from the sky. The yin-yang Dao diagram instantly collided with the strange beast's claw, causing a muffled sound to erupt. Then, the strange beast's claw disintegrated under the yin-yang Dao diagram. What? A cry of surprise came from the demonic chi. The mysterious great demon was taken aback. He didn't think that the opponent's formation could actually contend against his own demonic chi. Chapter 3394. In the human realm, on the ancestral star of the Myrtle, He Tian and Ji Changkong realized that their surroundings were different from before after they came out from the land of ascension. At this time, something that gave He Tian and Ji Changkong a headache happened. They accidentally released a mysterious demon that had been sealed for a long time. He Tian stepped forward and used the human formation as one technique to trap the demonic chi in the killing formation. However, the killing formation that trapped the demonic chi shook violently under the attack of the nameless demon. The demon shook the entire formation. Kill! He Tian roared. He operated the killing formation with all his might. Yin and yang chi intertwined and a diagram of yin and yang appeared above the demonic chi. Then, the diagram of yin and yang went straight for the demonic chi. However, at this moment, the mass of demonic aura suddenly emitted an extremely powerful fluctuation of demonic energy. In the next moment, the demonic chi also exploded. A terrifying destructive force spread out and actually broke He Tian's killing formation. However, He Tian's killing formation was different from the others. It could be big or small. Even if the demonic chi was bigger than a mountain, it could not break through the killing formation. Within the killing array, the phantom of a strange beast condensed from demonic energy roared. As the yin-yang Dao diagram fell, one of the strange beast's claws turned to ash. What? At this moment, the ferocious devil that was trapped in the killing formation finally lost its composure when it saw this scene. Roar! The ferocious devil let out a long howl, and a terrifying sound wave with demonic nature spread out in all directions. Countless transparent ripples appeared in the void. The billowing demonic energy quickly gathered towards that demonic figure. Soon, all the demonic energy disappeared, and a terrifying figure stood in the void with his back facing He Tian. Seeing this, He Tian was taken aback. What was this demon trying to do? The ferocious devil slowly turned around. When He Tian saw the appearance of the ferocious devil, his eyes almost popped out of their sockets. The ferocious devil was a woman. She was so beautiful that no words could describe her beauty. All the words of praise were useless at this moment. They were not enough to describe her beauty. This was a kind of demonic beauty, with an aura that could make people fall into the demonic path. Even someone as strong as He Tian almost had his soul devoured by the black-robed woman the moment he laid eyes on her. This black-clothed woman had a pair of crimson eyes that possessed a soul-stealing power. As long as she looked at someone, they would feel as if their soul was about to leave their body. This feeling made He Tian very uncomfortable. Demoness, He Tian mumbled to himself. He was a quasi-supreme being with an incomparably strong primordial spirit. He would not fall for her tricks so easily. However, when he saw the face of the demoness earlier on, he almost fell for her tricks. The demoness had a head full of long black hair. Her skin was smooth and supple, and her nose was sharp. Her red lips were extremely alluring, giving people the urge to kiss her. Especially those crimson eyes of hers, they seemed to be able to see through one's heart and affect one's mind. She could even pull out a cultivator's primordial spirit from their body and devour it. Little fella, now that I'm angry, the consequences will be dire. The demoness said. Her voice was crisp and melodious, containing a restless aura. TSK, what does it have to do with me whether you're angry or not? He Tian said with a look of nonchalance. Bzzz. In the next moment, the demoness was still smiling, but a sword chime rang out from her body. After that, a crimson beam of sword light shot out from her body. The sword light that had rushed out of the demon girl's body made a turn above her head, instantly transforming into a shocking sword rainbow. It broke through the layers of array diagrams and slashed at Mai Tian. What? When He Tian saw that the crimson beam of sword light could actually break through the layers of runes and slashed towards him like a hot knife through butter, his expression changed. The crimson beam of sword light exuded a demonic aura that made one's heart palpitate, as if it could devour everything. Swish! The crimson beam of sword light pierced through He Tian's body in an instant, directly destroying a large number of runes and causing the runes to dissipate into the air. At this time, the demoness did not feel happy because she had killed He Tian, because the killing formation was still active. What she had killed was not He Tian's real body. As expected, He Tian's real body appeared in another place. Countless runes rushed out from his body, directly imprinting themselves in the air, repairing the runes that had been destroyed by the crimson beam of sword light. In just an instant, the runes that had been destroyed by the crimson beam of sword light were completely repaired. Damn it! The demoness' expression involuntarily changed at the sight of this. It looked like she would have to kill He Tian if she wanted to break this formation. Because he was the killing formation, and the killing formation was him. However, killing He Tian was not an easy task. The crimson beam of sword light that had destroyed one of He Tian's fake bodies was finally destroyed by the killing formation's power and dissipated. 10 Direction Annihilation. Mai Tian let out a furious roar and directly used the most powerful killer move in the killing matrix. Endless yin and yang energy turned into chaos, and a terrifying destructive aura spread out. It was as if the entire world was about to collapse and be destroyed, turning back into chaos where there was nothing at all. Even the demoness was shocked by the aura of destruction. Roar! The demoness roared and spat out a crimson flying sword. The sword light flashed, and a sword-killing formation appeared in the air. What? How is this possible? He Tian was indescribably shocked when he saw this scene. He was very surprised that this demoness also knew the way of formations. Nothing is impossible in front of this ancestor. The demoness said as she controlled the killing formation and charged towards He Tian. The power of the killing formation was fully displayed, and it reached He Tian like a hot knife through butter. I've been waiting for you for a long time. Go in. He Tian suddenly smiled. Then, the space in front of him suddenly collapsed, and a heaven-devouring force erupted, instantly devouring the demoness and the sword formation into the chaotic void. Damn it! Chapter 3395. The person that He Tian and Ji Changkong had unintentionally released was actually a demon woman. She was an incomparably bewitching witch with a pair of demonic eyes. Even after being sealed in this grotto for countless years, this demoness was still extremely powerful. However, there was no doubt that her cultivation had fallen from the extreme grade. Otherwise, she wouldn't even need to make a move. As long as she released the true might of the extreme grade, He Tian and Ji Changkong would have to kneel. At this time, the obscuro-human formation fused as one and directly unleashed the strongest killing technique, directly smashing the demoness into the primal chaos void, and then sealing the shattered void. Countless runes wove together, and a yin-yang Dao diagram rushed out from the killing array, instantly sealing the shattered void. Boom! In the next moment, a muffled sound of impact resounded. The yin-yang diagram that sealed the space shook violently. Yin and yang energies interweaved and the power of the grand Dao lingered. The demoness wanted to break the yin-yang diagram's seal and rush out from the primal chaos. However, He Tian pushed the killing formation's power to the peak. Endless yin and yang energies frantically gathered from heaven and earth. The yin-yang diagram's power instantly multiplied. Haha, success. The demoness has been banished into the primal chaos. Ji Changkong couldn't help but rejoice when he saw this scene from outside the formation. One must know that this demoness wasn't simple. Even though her cultivation had fallen from the extreme grade, her battle prowess was still strong enough to make a quasi-supreme's heart palpitate. This kind of unconventional existence was stronger than a quasi-supreme. This was a publicly acknowledged fact. After all, these existences were once the strongest existences in the world. Even though He Tian was already a quasi-supreme, he nearly knelt before this unconventional existence. After all, this guy was a formation grandmaster. He could borrow the power of formations to greatly increase his cultivation, just like Ji Yufei's Heaven Ascension secret technique. Moreover, he still hadn't used the Heaven Ascension secret technique that he learned from Ji Yufei. Hearing Ji Changkong's words, He Tian understood his own situation. Although he had used the killing formation to raise his battle prowess to the limit, his opponent could still break through his seal. However, just as He Tian continued to strengthen the power of the seal. Boom! With a bang, the Tao diagram condensed from yin and yang qi exploded and dissipated in the void. The yin-yang Tao diagram had actually been directly scattered apart. This caused He Tian to be inexplicably shocked. But as the yin-yang Tao diagram was broken apart, a figure walked out from the primal chaos. "Little guy, I told you that you were too inexperienced, but you didn't believe me." The demoness voice rang out in He Tian's mind. The demoness was looking at the dumbfounded He Tian with a mocking expression. At this moment, not to mention He Tian, even Ji Changkong and the countless experts watching from afar were inexplicably shocked. This demoness was too powerful. Even a quasi-supreme being couldn't suppress this demoness. Although the demoness was very beautiful, at least in He Tian's opinion. He had never seen such a beautiful person before. However, this was a flower with thorns. Not only did she have thorns, her thorns were also poisonous. If one were to be pricked by these poisonous thorns, it would be fatal. Naturally, He Tian didn't dare to get too close to this demoness. This daddy has reincarnated countless times. You still dare to say that this daddy is inexperienced? Erebus suddenly said with a smile. What? When the peerless witch heard this, her demonic eyes immediately lit up. An indescribable demonic power surged in her eyes. Her crimson pupils were terrifying, as if they were connected to a blood-red world. He Tian only took a glance and didn't dare to look into her eyes again. The devilish eyes of the demoness had a strange attraction, as though they were going to devour his soul in the next moment. You've actually embarked on a different path of cultivation. It's a path that only exists in legends. Since ancient times, no one has ever succeeded. Even the person who created this cultivation method failed. Yet, you actually dared to embark on this path. The demoness said with incomparable shock. She couldn't help but be moved. Haha, how do you know that the person who created this reincarnation technique failed? Erebus took a deep look at the peerless demoness and said. Could it be that you? The demoness was shocked when she heard this. Her scarlet eyes flashed with a heart-palpitating scarlet light. She thought of a possibility, but she didn't say it out loud. Obediently let me seal you back, and you might be able to live. Otherwise, this daddy here will kill you. He Tian stared fiercely at the demoness and said. Ha. Hearing this, the demoness burst out into laughter, as though she had just heard the funniest joke in the world. What are you laughing at? Be serious. Can't you see that I'm talking to you very seriously? He Tian stared at the demoness and said with a serious expression. Fine, I won't laugh. The demoness retracted her smile. But in the next moment, she burst out laughing again. It seemed like this fella still hadn't figured out the situation. How dare he be so arrogant in front of her? Damn it, you dare to look down on me? Today, I will show you what a true formation master is like. As He Tian spoke, a thunderous roar rang out from his body. Then, runes burst out from the corner of his robe. An extremely powerful aura erupted from the runes. The moment the runes appeared, the entire sky darkened. Day turned into night in an instant. An extremely terrifying aura of destruction filled the entire sky. At this moment, even the countless living beings outside Crimson Devil Ridge felt their souls tremble, and they were terrified to the extreme. What? When the demoness saw the runes flying towards her, she was extremely shocked. She could sense a dangerous aura coming from the runes. A broken runes. The peerless demoness immediately retreated. Her movement technique was extremely fast, leaving behind a series of afterimages in the void. However, No matter how fast the demoness was, she couldn't outrun the runes. The runes engulfed the entire Crimson Demon Ridge in an instant. Naturally, the demoness was trapped within as well. Damn it. The demoness' expression changed. She was once an extreme supremacy. No one knew better than her how terrifying her extreme killing formation was. Even though it was only a broken runes, it wasn't something that could be easily destroyed. In the next moment, the runes that covered the entire region appeared between the heavens and earth. Countless runes were imprinted in the sky, trapping the demoness within. Seeing this scene, everyone was stunned. They only saw a killing array descending from the sky, directly sealing the peerless demoness who was extremely domineering to the extreme. Rumble, the runes of the extreme killing formation revolved. The void that was enveloped by the extreme killing formation was directly torn apart by a powerful force. The demoness, who bore the brunt of the attack, felt an immense pressure. The power of the extreme Tao surged towards her, yet she completely disregarded it. An attack like this could not affect her at all. Bzzz, the peerless witch's body emitted a rumbling sound. Then, a huge bell immediately appeared from her body and enveloped her in an instant. The beams of light of destruction that shot out from Hei Tian's body immediately collided with the peerless witch's giant bell. The giant bell trembled continuously, but it managed to block the light of destruction that pierced through it. How is this possible? Seeing this scene, Hei Tian was dumbfounded. Could it be that even a corner of the extreme killing formation couldn't do anything to her? Clang! At this moment, the sound of a bell rang out, echoing throughout the entire city. The sound of the bell contained a devilish nature, causing the souls of all living beings who heard it to tremble. The sound of the bell shook the corner of the extreme killing formation. The legendary soul-absorbing devil bell. When Hei Tian heard the sound of the bell, he felt that something was amiss. His soul cultivation was incomparably stable. Even if the gigantic bell that emerged from the demoness was an extreme killing formation, it would still be difficult for her to break through the corner of the extreme killing formation. Kill. Hei Tian circulated the killing formation with all his might. The corner of the extreme killing formation immediately erupted with an even more powerful energy. The entire world trembled as if it was about to collapse. Clang. The devil bell continued to ring. On the surface of the extreme killing formation, demonic runes continuously appeared and interweaved. The demoness used the devil bell to protect herself and retaliated. As the bell rang out, the entire world seemed to be affected. Boundless earth essence rose up and surged towards the corner of the extreme killing formation. Rays of divine light shot out from the corner of the extreme killing formation, illuminating the entire world with a golden hue. Boundless extreme Tao energy surged within the formation, causing Erebus to feel an immense pressure. The voice of the peerless demoness kept sounding out from within. At this moment, Ji Changkong heaved a sigh of relief. He saw that the peerless demoness was trapped in a corner of the extreme Tao formation. She was charging left and right in the formation. Even though she used the extreme Tao demonic bell, she was still unable to break out of the formation and escape. Little fellow, you better give up. I am immortal and you can't kill me. The voice of the demoness rang out in Hei Tian's heart. Stop talking nonsense. Even if I can't kill you, I still have to kill you. Hei Tian roared in anger. Very well, let's kill then. The demoness suddenly stopped in the middle of the formation. After that, the soul-absorbing devil bell in her hand actually flew up and transformed into a beam of light, entering the demoness body. In the next moment, the peerless demoness took out a black object the size of a fist. Then, she threw it towards the weakest point of the array. Boom! With a loud explosion, a powerful destructive force expanded outwards, creating a huge pit in the ground. Devil lightning! A few old cultivators watching from afar couldn't help but be startled. The opponent could actually refine devil lightning. This was going to be troublesome. Chapter 3396. Hei Tian gave it his all to fight against the peerless demoness in the Scarlet Demon Ridge. This was the collision of two heaven-shaking forces. The peerless demoness had a great background. Although she had been sealed in that cave for countless years and her cultivation base had fallen from the extreme grade realm, her combat strength was still shocking. With the peerless demoness' current combat strength, killing a quasi-supreme being was as easy as flipping her palm. Unfortunately, He Tian was not an ordinary quasi-supreme being. He cultivated the secret reincarnation technique and had reincarnated countless times. As his cultivation base continued to rise, the power he cultivated through countless reincarnations was also gradually returning. Not only that, his dusty memories were also becoming clearer. The power of countless reincarnations stacked together caused He Tian's combat strength to be many times stronger than an ordinary quasi-supreme being. Although he was only a quasi-supreme being, he could still fight against an existence like the peerless demoness. Boom! At this moment, the peerless demoness actually used devil lightning. That was the extreme grade devil lightning. In an instant, it exploded in the middle of He Tian's killing array. The vast destructive force directly shattered countless array runes. What Mahakala didn't expect was that this wasn't the full extent of the demonic lightning's power. The instant the demonic lightning exploded, the destructive power that erupted instantly expanded, destroying everything in its path. However, in the next instant, a terrifying devouring power appeared in the center of the demonic lightning's explosion. The destructive force of the devil lightning suddenly shrunk. All the array runes that had yet to dissipate were all devoured and destroyed. After 2 rounds of destruction, He Tian's killing array was on the verge of stopping. Seeing his opponent's devil lightning blasting a huge hole in his killing array, even a formation master like He Tian was dumbfounded. "Little fella, how's the power of my devil lightning? It's all right, right?" The peerless demoness smiled at He Tian. Erebus immediately felt as if his mind was being forcibly sucked away by a magical force. The other party's smile was extremely alluring, but in the next moment, he abruptly woke up with a start. "Haha, you want to be this Grandpa He's elder sister? You're still too young." He Tian laughed heartily. He had reincarnated countless times, but the memories hidden in the depths of his soul hadn't been restored. Even so, he was still shocked. He was definitely a super antique. It was as if he had already existed before the mythological era. The era before the mythological era was an extremely ancient era, the desolate era. It was a very primitive era, and during that era, there were innate gods. Innate living beings ruled over the world, ruling over the entire world. He Tian didn't expect that he could live for so long and reincarnate all the way to the present. "Hihi, is that so?" At this time, the peerless demoness took out another devil lightning from her body. He Tian's expression changed. That scene just now had truly given him a fright. That devil lightning's power was truly astonishing. "Big sister will treat you to demonic thunder." After saying that, the peerless she-devil tossed the demonic lightning in her hand towards He Tian. "Motherfucker, this daddy will treat you to some rice fields." Mahakala cursed and immediately retreated. His speed was so fast that only a faint afterimage could be seen in the void. Boom! There was another loud bang as the demonic lightning exploded. The destructive power first expanded to the extreme, shattering everything in its surroundings. In the next moment, the extremely expanding power instantly shrank inwards, destroying everything. The might of this demonic lightning was really strong. It was equivalent to destroying everything that was enveloped by the power of the demonic lightning twice, completely destroying everything. He Tian's killing formation was affected once more. A large number of runes were destroyed by the boundless destructive power, completely dissipating in the air. Playing thunder with this Grandpa He. He Tian gritted his teeth as he stared at the peerless she-devil. Following that, rays of yin and yang light shot out from his killing formation, forming balls of lightning. Rumble, a deep and thunderous rumble came from within He Tian's killing formation. "This guy is going all out." Ji Changkong, who was watching from afar, was incomparably shocked. This was the first time he had seen someone force He Tian to the point of risking his life. Unstoppable thunder. He Tian roared. Countless balls of yin and yang lightning shot out from his killing formation towards the peerless she-devil. Every ball of lightning emitted a strong destructive aura. The balls of yin and yang lightning shot out from all directions and shot towards the peerless she-devil, sealing off all her escape routes. "You're forcing me to fight you head-on." The peerless she-devil laughed. At this moment, Haitian no longer dared to look at the peerless she-devil. Her demonic arts were extremely strange. It could affect a cultivator's state of mind, especially when they were fighting. When experts exchanged blows, if one side's state of mind was affected, the other side would usually defeat them. At this moment, the peerless she-devil's body emitted a vast scarlet demonic light. The scarlet demonic light expanded and the balls of yin and yang lightning that shot towards her dissipated into the scarlet demonic light. What? Seeing this, Haitian could not help but be shocked. The demonic mystique that she used was actually similar to Ji Yufei's secret of the 9 secrets of the immortal Tao, secret of the void. He had yet to learn the final secret of the 9 secrets of the immortal Tao, secret of the void. At this moment, the scarlet demonic light that spread out from the peerless she-devil's body instantly enveloped Haitian and the killing formation. Run! The countless formation runes around him dissipated under the crimson blood demonic light. Haitian immediately used the antivoid secret technique and instantly escaped into the void, fleeing. For Haitian, if he could not win, he would run. That was his principle. Seeing that Haitian had escaped, Ji Changkong also turned and fled. If even Haitian was not a match for this she-devil, there was no way he would be able to either. If he didn't escape, he would die here. Naturally, Ji Changkong was not that stupid. As for the flying immortal monarch, Ji Xuanji, he had already slipped away. This made Ji Changkong very speechless. This uncle of his was indeed ambitious and ruthless. Rumble, the killing formation quickly collapsed. An incomparably shocking sound spread out. The entire heaven and earth seemed like it was going to explode. It was precisely because the killing formation trapped the peerless she-devil, making it difficult for her to intercept Haitian and Ji Changkong. This allowed Haitian and Ji Changkong to successfully escape. When the peerless she-devil used her demonic mystique to destroy the killing formation, she could not find Haitian and Ji Changkong anymore. Cunning fellow! The peerless she-devil muttered to herself. Her powerful divine sense scanned the surroundings, but she could not sense the presence of Haitian and Ji Changkong. In the next moment, the cultivators outside the Scarlet Demon Ridge were going to be unlucky. The peerless she-devil charged out of the Scarlet Demon Ridge. She reached out with her right hand, and immediately, tens of incomparably strong silhouettes flew over from afar. She grabbed them in her hand. Very quickly, their energy was sucked dry, and they turned into tens of dried corpses. What? Seeing this scene, the surrounding cultivators were extremely shocked. "Ha ha, all of you, come over here." The peerless she-devil laughed loudly. Then, a terrifying devouring force suddenly appeared from her body. All the cultivators within 1,000 miles actually flew towards her involuntarily. Roar! Some experts roared in anger, wanting to break free. However, they discovered that there was no change at all. All the cultivators that flew towards the peerless she-devil were imprisoned in the space around her. Even some of the more powerful existences were captured by her, unable to escape. At this moment, the space around the peerless she-devil was filled with human silhouettes. This was an extremely shocking scene. Every cultivator's body was emitting energy. The peerless she-devil used her demonic mystique to continuously devour the energy of the cultivators around her. Very soon, the expressions of the cultivators imprisoned in the void became weary. As their essence, chi, and spirit continued to flow out, they would eventually turn into hundreds of dried corpses. This was the result of having their energy devoured by the peerless she-devil ridge. There was no longer any suspense. In the end, the peerless she-devil ridge left. The entire Scarlet Demon Ridge returned to its former tranquility. When the experts of the major powers arrived at the Scarlet Demon Ridge, they saw many cold corpses lying in the depths of the Scarlet Demon Ridge. Even the ancestors couldn't help but be shocked at this scene. It seems like the ancestral star of crepe myrtle is going to be chaotic. Some ancient existences said such words. While everyone on the ancestral myrtle star was in danger, in the ancestral god realm, Ji Yufei was about to send the foreign demons back to the primal chaos devil realm. This wasn't a difficult task for him. In the primal chaos golden rock race's ancestral land, Ji Yufei took out the formation platform. At this time, There were many demons gathered in the primal chaos golden rock race's ancestral land. 3 days was more than enough for the foreign demons to make sufficient preparations. Mojoyo rode the old black bull and led a few demons to the primal chaos golden rock race's ancestral land. "We're finally going back." Mojoyo was extremely excited at the thought of returning to the primal chaos devil realm. He had been away for too long. "Yeah, we're finally going back." One of the demons standing behind Mojoyo sighed. In the past, they were trapped here and couldn't return to the primal chaos devil realm. But things were different now. They were about to return, but they were afraid that they wouldn't be able to see their loved ones again. Very quickly, Ji Yufei was ready. Without hesitation, he activated the formation platform. In the next moment, a buzzing sound could be heard. Suddenly, a ball of demonic light spread out from the platform, and the demonic patterns were stimulated by him. The Demon's Formation Platform. Chapter 3397. Deep in the ancestral land of the Chaos Golden Rock clan. In a valley filled with dense spiritual energy. In the middle of the valley, there was a pavilion. The 3-story pavilion was built in a dazzling manner. It was very imposing. In front of the pavilion, it was not a small square. At this moment, in the square, countless experts of the devil race stood densely together. Some of the devil race's experts were even standing in the void. At this time, these devil race powerhouses were staring at the formation platform in the middle of the square. In the middle of the square, there was a huge formation platform in front of it. The entire platform was made of wood. It was the platform that Ji Yufei had brought back from the Black Demon Sea in the ancestral god realm. It was the platform that the Willow Demon clan had left behind. Willow Demon, at this moment. Mojoyo, who was standing in front of the platform, had an indescribable look in his eyes. He was the top extreme demon lord in the Chaos Demon realm. He naturally recognized Willow Demon. A willow in the ancient demon realm, Mojoyo muttered to himself. His gaze became a little deep. Could there be some story between this guy and the ancestor of the Willow Demon clan? Although Ji Yufei was activating the platform, he also noticed the change in Mojoyo. He also heard Mojoyo muttering to himself. Chaos Demon Realm. Since ancient times, there were only a few that could leave their names in history. Mojoyo was one. So was the ancestor of the Willow Demon clan. As for the others, they were all buried in the passage of time. No one could remember their names, their deeds. Only those that were amazing enough could be remembered by people for thousands of years. Rumble, lines of demonic runes appeared on the wooden platform. A pitch-black hole gradually formed. It was the passage that connected the two realms. Seeing the black hole appear on the platform, all the demons who were waiting nervously were surprised and happy. Ji Yufei did not go back on his words. He activated the platform of the Willow Demon clan with all his strength. The black hole above the platform gradually stabilized. At this moment, Kang Q and the Demon Divine Lord had yet to return. This made Ji Yufei speechless. He was merely going to deal with an ancestor of the deity race. It had been 3 days. He still hadn't taken him down. With Kang Q's help. In that case, it would be much easier to activate the platform. The Willow Devil clan's formation platform could connect the celestial and devil realms. There was no doubt about it. However, the people on the other side of the platform did not know about this. Ancestral God Realm. On a mountain outside the Black Demon City, a platform that had been silent for a long time suddenly woke up. Is that guy planning to come back? A figure sitting cross-legged in front of the platform suddenly opened his eyes. It was a woman. It was a masked woman. The moment the woman opened her eyes, a cold glint flashed across her eyes. 2 bolts of lightning seemed to flash across the void. At this moment, the other people on the mountaintop were also alarmed. Rays of demonic light rushed out from the platform. They circled around the platform. Ancient demonic runes appeared on the platform one after another. The void above the platform was collapsing. It collapsed. Soon, a black hole appeared in the sky above the platform. At the beginning, The black hole on the platform was not very stable. However, the black hole quickly stabilized. Is the master coming back? The Black Demon Mountain Lord was also alarmed. He directly rushed over from the Black Demon City. The other experts also appeared on the mountaintop one after another. They stared nervously at the black hole above the platform. Rumble. The entire platform was shaking slightly. The aura it emitted was extremely terrifying. Connecting the two realms. It was not an easy task. The energy needed was too huge. One had to know. This was to open the barrier between the two realms. However, when the platform gradually stabilized, the aura exuding from the platform was no longer as terrifying as before. Is he coming back? An old man appeared behind the woman. Only this old man dared to approach the masked woman. The others stood far away. HMPH. Who knows? The woman said disapprovingly. At this moment, a mass of chaotic light directly flew out of the black hole. Seeing this, the Black Demon Mountain Lord and the others. They could not help but be taken aback. What was the master going to do? Everyone was guessing. The woman sitting cross-legged in front of the platform stretched out her hand. The mass of chaotic light that flew out of the black hole immediately fell into her hand. So that's how it is. Mo Joyo is actually still alive. Interesting. The masked woman said. Then, she directly stood up. With a wave of her sleeve, a mass of demonic light immediately enveloped her and the old man. The next moment, the masked woman and the old man disappeared in front of everyone. Just as the masked woman and the old man left, a figure walked out of the black hole in the sky above the formation platform. It was an extremely powerful aura. It spread out from this figure. At this moment, all the demonic experts on the mountaintop felt their souls tremble. That figure was like a supreme demonic ancestor overlooking ants. They saw that it was an old man riding an old black bull. The old black bull that the old man was sitting on was slowly walking down from the platform. Seeing this scene, everyone was dumbfounded. How could it be a demon? Everyone was extremely surprised. One should know. The place that Ji Yufei went to was the ancestral god realm. How could a demon expert return from the ancestral god realm? Could it be? The Black Demon Mountain Lord and the other demon experts vaguely guessed a certain possibility. Mo Joyo, have finally returned. After Mo Joyo came out of the platform on the old black bull, he said with great emotion. He felt the aura of this world. Extremely excited. What? Mo Joyo. The Black Demon Mountain Lord heard. This was really a big surprise. One should know. Mo Joyo was a legendary figure. He was one of the most powerful demonic ancestors in the history of the Chaos Demon realm. However, ever since the ancient war of gods and demons, Mo Joyo disappeared. Some said that Mo Joyo died in battle. Others said that Mo Joyo was trapped in the ancestral god realm. The legend of Mo Joyo. There were many. But which one was true? Which one was false? But there was no way to verify it. And now, suddenly, an old man on the old black bull jumped out and said that he was Mo Joyo. The Black Demon Mountain Lord could not believe it. This was too ridiculous. I'm back. Mo Joyo said. An earth-shattering aura immediately erupted from his body. A supreme demonic aura exploded. The entire void was shaking. The next moment, the Black Demon Mountain Lord and the others directly knelt down. Terrified, they laid on the ground. Their minds almost collapsed. Under the pressure of this aura, all the demon experts on the mountain were terrified to the extreme. It was like the end of the world. Not a single person could stand. Old man, can you give me some face? These are all my subordinates. At this moment, a blurry figure came from afar. He directly came in front of Mo Joyo. I got a little carried away. I'm sorry. Mo Joyo, who was riding the old black bull, said with a smile. The next moment, the supreme pressure that erupted from his body immediately retreated like a receding tide. At this moment, the demon experts on the mountain heaved a sigh of relief. Could this old man really be the legendary Mojoyo? The Black Demon Mountain Lord was extremely doubtful. But the demonic aura that exploded from the old bull was no joke. At this moment, the blurry figure in front of Mojoyo also disappeared in the void. He disappeared. It turned out that it was just a shadow. The owner of this shadow. Naturally, it was Ji Yufei. Only Ji Yufei's face. Mojoyo had to give it to him. However, in the instant that Mojoyo released his powerful aura, Mojoyo's eyes widened. The most powerful demons in the primal chaos demon realm still sensed this aura. That person is back. In the Stone Demon clan's ancestral land. An incomparably old voice came out. And in the Willow Demon clan's ancestral land. Some ancient existences were also alarmed. They directly jumped out of their coffins. What's going on? Is that person still alive? In another region. On a towering demonic mountain that pierced the clouds. In a cave that breathed in and out incomparably pure demonic energy. Such a voice came out. If that person really is back, then we'll have a good show to watch. Someone said something like that. Mojoyo's aura only appeared for a very short time before disappearing. This shocked the big shots of the Chaos Demon realm. They were paranoid. There were many ancient existences in the Chaos Demon realm. At this moment, on the mountain outside the Black Demon City, in the sky above the transboundary formation platform, more and more powerful devil race experts walked out of the black hole. Soon, the entire mountaintop was filled with the figures of the demon race. Some demons even flew into the sky. Ancestral God realm. All the demons in the extraterrestrial demon region had come. No one was willing to stay in the ancestral God realm. One had to know. Without Mojoyo's protection, the other demons could not survive in the ancestral God realm. If not for Mojoyo, the demons trapped in the ancestral God realm could only be killed. Half an hour later, no one walked out of the black hole above the formation platform. All the demons of the ancestral God realm had crossed over. They had returned to their true homeland. Primal Chaos Demon Realm. This was the world of demons. Mojoyo would temporarily stay in the Black Demon City. This was Ji Yufei's arrangement. Only then would Mojoyo find a place for the devils from the ancestral God realm to settle down. Actually, Mojoyo also needed time to understand the current situation in the primal chaos demon realm. Ancestral God realm. In the depths of the Golden Rock clan's ancestral land, Ji Yufei sent off Mojoyo and the other demons. Then he put away the formation platform. He planned to leave. Chapter 3398. In the depths of the chaotic Golden Rock clan's ancestral land, a beam of divine light shot towards Ji Yufei, who had just put away his formation platform. Wherever the divine light passed, a pitch-black spatial crack was left in the void. A terrifying aura spread from the divine light. The figure was extremely fast. As soon as it appeared, it had already shot in front of Ji Yufei. The surrounding people were shocked when they saw this. Someone actually dared to sneak an attack on Ji Yufei in the ancestral land of the chaotic Golden Rock clan. The ancestral land of the chaotic Golden Rock clan was not a place that just anyone could enter. Clang! Just as Ji Yufei was about to be hit by the divine light, an ancient cauldron the size of a fist emerged from between his eyebrows. The divine light shot directly onto the ancient cauldron, making a bell-like sound. The divine light instantly shattered in the void. As the divine light shattered, a divine arrow was wrapped in the divine light. It was a divine arrow that contained the power of the extreme Tao. It should have been left behind by an extreme Tao cultivator. At this moment, the ancient cauldron that had rushed out from between Ji Yufei's eyebrows had already landed in his hand. At the same time, a black figure flashed across the sky. The person who had sneak attacked Ji Yufei wanted to escape immediately after his plan failed. This seemed to be the behavior of an assassin. Chimph Ji Yufei sneered. The ancient cauldron in his hand immediately flew up and disappeared into the void in an instant. In the next moment, a bloody mist exploded in the distance. Do you still want to live after a sneak attack? Ji Yufei muttered to himself. At this moment, The ancient cauldron that had disappeared flew back from afar and landed on his right hand. Then, a primordial spirit rushed out of the ancient cauldron. Primordial chaos chi formed divine chains that firmly bound the primordial spirit. Everyone's expressions changed when they saw this. Ji Yufei's methods were too frightening. He actually killed an incomparably powerful expert of the god race just like that, and even imprisoned his soul. It seemed like he was going to search his soul. I'd like to see who's behind this. After saying that, Ji Yufei used one of the 9 secrets of the immortal Tao, the divine seizing secret technique, to read the memories of the cultivator's soul. The power of the 9 secrets of immortal Tao was naturally not something that the puny soul of that fellow could withstand. Very soon, Ji Yufei learned the ins and outs of the matter. The gold crows again, with a thought from Ji Yufei. The soul bound by the ancient cauldron's primordial chaos power was instantly devoured by the ancient cauldron and refined. Bound by the power of the mountain and river cauldron, even a primordial spirit of the extreme Tao would be in danger, let alone the primordial spirit of a fellow who wasn't even a quasi-sovereign. There was no suspense. That fellow's soul would be destroyed in the end. You 3 go and see what's going on with the demon god, and Kang Q. Ji Yufei said to the 3 gargoyles standing to the side. Yes, master. The 3 stone demons hurriedly accepted the order and soared into the sky toward the immortal medicine ridge. Soon, they disappeared into the horizon and out of everyone's sight. The 3 stone demons were Ji Yufei's confidants. They were also existences that could use primordial spirit power and possessed a physique that was comparable to a primordial spirit artifact. If the 3 stone demons of the chaos demonic ape and the demon god worked together, even an existence like Kang Q would be fearful, let alone other existences. Kang Q and the demon god had yet to take down the immortal medicine ridge, which was beyond everyone's expectations. One must know that if the deity race was really that strong, Kang Q and the demon god would be in for a tragedy. Ji Yufei paid no attention to the others and directly walked into the pavilion. The onlookers also gradually dispersed. Soon, most of the people in the square in front of the pavilion had left. Only the core members of the chaotic golden rock race remained. Just as Ji Yufei entered the pavilion in the ancestral land of the chaotic golden rock race, the ancestral myrtle star in the human realm was in a state of turmoil. After the birth of the peerless demoness, whose name was unknown, she devoured the essence of cultivators everywhere, causing everyone in the cultivation world to feel insecure. At this time, He Tian and Ji Changkong arrived at the Flying Immortal City. The Flying Immortal City Lord had returned even earlier than them. They did not cause trouble for the Flying Immortal King. Instead, they used the teleportation formation of the Flying Immortal City. The Flying Immortal City was not far from the ancestral land of the Ji family. Ji Changkong did not return to the ancestral land of the Ji family directly. Instead, he went to visit an expert of virtue and prestige in the Ji family. The great elder of the Ji family was not in the ancestral land of the Ji family. Instead, he was cultivating on a spirit mountain 1,000 miles away. Ji Changkong and He Tian stepped onto the teleportation formation of the Flying Immortal City. In the next moment, the teleportation formation was activated and the 2 of them disappeared from the teleportation formation. Those 2 fellows finally left. After seeing Ji Changkong and He Tian leave, the Flying Immortal City Lord walked out and heaved a sigh of relief. The ancestral land of the Ji family was naturally located in the best area of the ancestral Myrtle Star. It was the source of the ancestral Earth Vein, the birthplace of the ancestral Earth Vein. Such a place was absolutely heaven-defying. There was only one such place in the entire ancestral Earth Star. There was no other place like it. The place where the ancestral Earth Vein converged was like a crouching tiger and coiled dragon. Spiritual chi gathered from all directions. This was a divine land. Cultivating here would naturally yield twice the results with half the effort. The great elder of the Ji family, the ancient antique that had lived for countless years, did not sit in the ancestral land of the Ji family. Instead, he was on a spirit mountain 1,000 miles away. He had built many buildings and cultivated there. At this moment, 2 people arrived at the foot of the mountain peak surrounded by spiritual chi. These 2 people were Ji Changkong and He Tian, who had just rushed over. What are you? He Tian could not guess what this fellow wanted to do. I came to pay my respects to the old ancestor first, then I will return to the ancestral land of the Ji family, said Ji Changkong. He was very clear about the current situation. His power in the Ji family could be said to be negligible. Moreover, he did not know what the branch he belonged to would think about his return. He wanted to establish his own power. He Tian and Ji Changkong did not hesitate and directly went up the mountain. On the ancestral Earth star in the human realm, He Tian and Ji Changkong went to pay a visit to a super antique of the Ji family. If they could invite this person, everything would become very simple. In the ancestral god realm, the void near the immortal medicine ridge constantly emitted incomparably shocking sounds. Two auras of the extreme Tao were vast and mighty between heaven and earth. The void shattered and chaotic chi was shot out. The two terrifying auras of the extreme Tao came from the chaotic chi. The battle between Kang Qiu and the deity race's old ancestor Yu Qiong was still undecided. The fact that the two experts were evenly matched was a good thing for Ji Yufei. It would be even better if the two of them were to fight and both of them were heavily injured. Just as the two experts were in a stalemate, three powerful figures that could make one's soul tremble came from afar. Powerful demonic auras spread in all directions. This is, in the immortal medicine ridge, the demon god couldn't help but be shocked when he saw the three suddenly coming. He naturally knew about their background. Why are they here? Could it be that the Lord sent them? The demon god muttered to himself. He had actually taken over the immortal medicine ridge, but the battle between Kang Qiu and Yu Qiong was still undecided. Rumble, in the shattered void, the chaotic chi was vast and mighty. Sounds of wind and thunder could be heard from the depths of the chaos. The chaos demon ape and the other two golems directly rushed into the chaos, rushing towards Kang Qiu and Yu Qiong. Swoosh! Just as the three stone gargoyles approached, an extremely sharp swordlight suddenly rushed out of the void and slashed at the chaos demon ape. The chaos demon ape immediately raised his right hand to block the attack. The sword light instantly slashed the chaos demon ape's right hand, and it actually made a sound of metal colliding, as if it had slashed a rock. Roar! The chaos demon ape roared angrily and directly slammed his palm forward. The powerful palm force exploded and dispersed the chaotic chi in front of him. After the chaotic essence dissipated, two figures appeared in front of everyone. Kill! Kill! The two super experts roared at the same time and once again collided with each other. Boom! The entire chaotic void seemed like it was about to explode. A powerful energy storm swept out in all directions. Wherever it passed, it destroyed everything in its path. However, the Chaos Demon Ape and the other two golems did not dodge the mighty energy storm. Instead, they directly fought against it without taking a step back. The Chaos Demon Ape did not hesitate and directly pounced towards Yu Qiong. An extremely powerful force erupted from his body and rays of demonic light pierced towards Yu Qiong. Yu Qiong's expression changed when he saw that. He directly opened his mouth and inhaled. The countless demonic lights that pierced through him were all swallowed and refined. What? The Chaos Demon Ape was shocked. This fella can actually devour my energy. How am I supposed to fight him? At this moment, the Supreme Yin Demon Spider and the Dragonhead Demon also made their moves. Extreme demonic energy erupted, causing the entire chaotic void to explode and endless chaotic chi to boil. The three golems had joined forces. Kang Qiu, this is the evidence that you've colluded with the demons. Yu Qiong shouted. His body was like a phantom as he moved quickly in the chaotic void, dodging the attacks of the three golems. "Mph, whatever you say." Kang Qiu sneered. He was too lazy to explain. "So what if I have colluded with the demons?" "Haha, then you admit it." Yu Qiong laughed. The crime of colluding with the demons was not a light one in the ancestral god realm. He would become the public enemy of all the celestial clans in the ancestral god realm. Chapter 3399. High up in the sky near the immortal herb ridge, the void had turned into primal chaos. Powerful energy surged out from the primal chaos. At this moment, Kang Qiu and Yu Qiong were fighting in the depths of the bastard. The Chaos Demon Ape and the other two golem devils joined the battle. No matter how strong Yu Qiong was, he wouldn't be able to stop them. He executed a strange movement technique and managed to escape from the joint attack of Kang Q and the 3 golem devils. There was a reason why the Heavenly God clan was able to survive for so many years and no one was able to exterminate them. Their cultivation technique was unique. Kang Q, you're done for. Yu Qiong's figure appeared in the distance. A powerful energy wave spread out from his body, dispersing the primal chaos aura in the surroundings. Haha, I'm done for. What a joke. Kang Q burst into laughter. Is this guy stupid? He's the one at a disadvantage, not me. How dare he say that I'm done for? Colluding with the demons will make you the enemy of the entire ancestral god realm. No matter how strong you are, you're done for. Yu Qiong stared at Kang Q with a malicious gaze. So what? Kang Q said coldly. He didn't care because he knew that as long as Ji Yufei was here, no one in the ancestral god realm could touch him. Of course, Kang Q also knew that Ji Yufei wouldn't stay in the ancestral god realm forever because Ji Yufei was just a passerby. You're crazy. How can you not care after doing such a crazy thing? Yu Qiong looked at Kang Q in disbelief. He didn't expect Kang Q to have such an attitude. Kang Q smiled. You're the one who didn't see it clearly. Whether it's in the primal chaos devil world or the ancestral god realm, strength is everything. As long as I'm strong enough, I can ignore everything and do whatever I want. Kang Q was extremely confident in his and Ji Yufei's strength. Hearing these words, Yu Qiong was even more shocked. Kang Q was right. In the world of cultivation, the strong ruled, the weak were prey to the strong. This was an unchanging truth. All right, let me send you on your way, Kang Q said as he pressed forward. At the same time, the Chaos Demonic Ape and the other 3 stone golems spread out and surrounded Yu Qiong. Humph. When Yu Qiong saw the 4 experts surrounding him, even though he had fused with the extreme Dao God Bone, his expression changed. One must know that their physiques were also extremely powerful, and could even contend against an extreme Dao artifact. I won't accompany you anymore. After saying that, Yu Qiong shot up into the sky in an attempt to escape. However, at this moment, a large net suddenly enveloped him from above. It caught him in an instant, causing him to be greatly shocked. Great Yin Demon Spider. Yu Qiong couldn't help but frown. Although he was caught in the net, he didn't panic. However, at that moment, a huge spider crawled out from the web and stabbed at Yu Qiong's head with its front claws that looked like demonic spears. Clang! The Great Yin Demon Spider's 2 front claws pierced Yu Qiong's forehead, but it couldn't pierce through. It only made a metallic sound. Seeing this, the Chaos Demonic Ape and the Dragon Head Demon were shocked. Only Kang Q remained calm. At this moment, the Great Yin Demon Spiders on the net hurriedly retreated. However, Yu Qiong grabbed one of the Great Yin Demon Spider's front claws and forcefully snapped it off. The Great Yin Demon Spider was both shocked and furious. Then, it turned into a ray of demonic light and escaped. Haha, that's all. Yu Qiong laughed crazily. He had fused with the Extreme Dao Golden Divine Bone and could control the power of the Extreme Dao Golden Divine Bone. It was as if he had transformed into an Extreme Dao Supreme Being. Yu Qiong became arrogant because of his powerful combat strength. Humph. Kang Q sneered and spat out a ray of sword light. The ray of sword light turned into a divine rainbow and pierced through Yu Qiong, who was in the big net. The fluctuation of sword chi of the extreme Dao level spread out from the sword rainbow. Damn it. In the face of Kang Q's sword rainbow, Yu Qiong's expression immediately turned solemn. He directly grabbed the huge net and pulled forcefully, tearing a big hole in it. However, at this moment, Kang Q's sword light pierced through the web. Roar! Yu Qiong roared and grabbed the sword light with his right hand. When his right hand came into contact with the sword light, the sound of metal rubbing against each other could be heard. The Chaos Demonic Ape and the Dragon Head Demon were dumbfounded. Yu Qiong grabbed the sword light that Kang Q had shot out. Even Kang Q was shocked to see this. However, Yu Qiong's right hand, which was holding onto the sword rainbow, was slashed by the sword chi. Golden blood dripped from his hand. What are you waiting for? Kang Q stared at Yu Qiong and said loudly. The Chaos Demonic Ape and the Dragon-Head Demon looked at each other and attacked at the same time. The Chaos Demonic Ape opened his mouth and spat out a ball of pitch-black demonic fire. As soon as the demonic fire appeared, it instantly spread out. A large amount of chaotic aura was burnt and destroyed by the demonic fire. The demonic fire engulfed Yu Qiong. The Dragon-Head Demon flipped his hands and a few demonic spears appeared in his hands. Without hesitation, he threw the demonic spears at Yu Qiong. The demonic spears turned into demonic light and disappeared in the demonic fire. Ha ha! You want to kill me with this? Dream on. Yu Qiong's laughter could be heard from the demonic fire. They can't kill you, but what about me? At this moment, a voice was heard in the chaos. Who are you? Yu Qiong stopped laughing in the demonic fire. Boom! At this moment, an ancient cauldron appeared directly in the sky above the ball of demonic flames. Then, it directly suppressed the demonic flames below. What? As the ancient cauldron pressed down, the demonic fire immediately dissipated. A terrifying force that could shake the heavens exploded from the ancient cauldron. The mighty primordial chaos force dispersed the surrounding chaotic aura. Yu Qiong, who was below the ancient cauldron, could not even straighten his back. At this moment, the rainbow sword in his hand flew back to Kang Qiu and entered his body. Chapter 3400. Ji Yufei had arrived, but it wasn't his true body that had come. It was just a clone, and his incarnation had brought along the mountain and river cauldron. He sealed a part of the primal chaos as soon as he took action, suppressing the deity race's old ancestor to the point where he couldn't even straighten his back. Nathaniel Hawthorne. What? Who the hell are you? The old ancestor of the deity race was afraid because the power coming down from the ancient cauldron above his head was too great. Although he tried his best to draw the power of the golden divine bone, it was still difficult to contend against it. Yu Qiong tried his best to hold on, but his waist still started to bend. Who am I? Of course it's the person who killed you, isn't that obvious? Ji Yufei's doppelganger looked at Yu Qiong and said with a smile. In fact, he was also very surprised that Yu Qiong could withstand the suppression of the mountain and river cauldron for so long. If it had been an ordinary patriarch, he would have been obliterated by the power of the mountain and river cauldron. Fused with the divine item of extreme path? Very soon, Ji Yufei's clone saw through Ancestor Yu Qiong's true state. Ancestor Yu Qiong's body shone with boundless golden light. 9 ancient golden runes appeared on his body. Each rune radiated with immortal light. Those were the extreme Tao divine runes. This also meant that old ancestor Yu Qiong had already used all of his strength. His body's endurance had reached its limit. He needed 9 extreme Tao divine runes to seal his divine body. The deity race's secret technique, which could fuse with an extreme divine artifact, was indeed heaven-defying. It was similar to the technique Ji Yufei cultivated in the past, which allowed him to fuse weapons into his body. Roar! Old ancestor Yu Qiong roared in anger. Powerful extreme path divine power burst forth from his body, and in the next moment, his clothes were torn to shreds and scattered all over the sky. This guy is quite strong. Ji Yufei's clone was startled to see ancestor Yu Qiong's bulging muscles. This fellow was tall and slender, but it was unexpected for him to have such a powerful divine body. Even a middle-aged man wouldn't have such a physique. Despite his old age, forefather Yu Qiong's divine body was still in peak condition. Forefather Yu Qiong's muscles and bones were trembling as he unleashed a tremendous amount of divine force. However, it was only a futile struggle. That was the only way to go. Very soon, elder ancestor Yu Qiong was suppressed by the power of the cauldron of mountain and river and was lying on the ground, trembling. When Kang Qiu and the others saw this, they could not help but be moved. He had fought this guy for a few days but was unable to defeat him. However, Ji Yufei's clone had subdued this guy as soon as he arrived. Could it be that Ji Yufei's doppelganger was stronger than him? Thinking of this, Kang Qiu was extremely depressed. He actually knew that the reason Ji Yufei's clone was able to suppress Yu Qiong was because of the mountain and river cauldron. However, even though he knew this, Kang Qiu was still unhappy. The power of the mountain and river cauldron was truly heaven-defying. Buzz! The mountain and river cauldron vibrated and unleashed powerful primordial chaos energy. Cracking sounds could be heard from forefather Yu Cheong's bones as if they were being crushed. "All right, I'll send you on your way." Ji Yufei's clone did not want to play anymore. In fact, there was nothing fun about this. This guy was not even a quasi-supreme. How could he possibly be a match for him? This guy is really done for this time. Kang Q felt a little complicated at the sight of this. At this moment, he could not feel happy at all. Boom! An even more powerful primordial chaos energy exploded from the mountain and river cauldron. 9 primordial chaos Dao runes emerged from the mountain and river cauldron. The entire chaotic void seemed to freeze. In the next moment, the primordial chaos energy descended from the mountain and river cauldron. Then, tragedy struck forefather Yu Cheong. Forefather Yu Cheong let out a miserable shriek. Sounds of bones breaking could be heard from his body. Bloody wounds appeared on his body, and some of his bones even pierced through his body. Golden divine blood continuously seeped out from forefather Yu Cheong's body. At this moment, he discovered that his divine body was no longer under his control. The divine blood that was flowing out of his body couldn't be retrieved. At this moment, the mountain and river cauldron began to suppress forefather Yu Cheong. "Don't! Can't I surrender?" Old ancestor Yu Cheong panicked. The other party was so powerful, and indeed had the strength to kill him. At this time, he felt the golden god bone in his body was actually afraid of the cauldron in the sky, and was actually showing signs of escaping. This was definitely not a good thing for forefather Yu Cheong. One must know that the reason he could still hold on was because the golden divine bone had fused with him. Once the golden divine bone left his body, he would immediately die. With a thought from Ji Yufei's clone, the mountain and river cauldron that was suppressing forefather Yu Cheong immediately stopped. It was like a primordial divine mountain hovering there, giving off an endless sense of pressure. Even an expert like Kang Q couldn't help but feel his heart palpitate upon seeing this scene. One must know that he was once an extreme sovereign, one of the strongest experts in the ancestral god realm. "You want to surrender?" Ji Yufei's clone looked at the old man lying motionlessly under the mountain and river cauldron and said with a faint smile. Yes. I want to surrender. I want to surrender," forefather Yu Cheong hurriedly said. At this moment, his life was more important. He no longer cared about his face. His face was no longer an issue when his life was at stake. "All right, it's fine if you want to surrender. But you have to be my servant. Are you willing?" Ji Yufei's clone said. "What?" Forefather Yu Cheong, who was suppressed by the mountain and river cauldron, couldn't help but be startled when he heard this. This guy actually wanted him to be his servant. He was a dignified forefather of the deity race. If he agreed, it would be impossible for him to stay in the deity race. One must know that once the patriarch of the deity race knew that he had become Ji Yufei's servant, his name would definitely be removed from the deity race. "You still need to consider this. Then go on your way," Ji Yufei's clone said. He didn't have much patience. This so-called forefather of the deity race could barely be his servant with his cultivation and combat strength. "Don't. I'm willing. At this moment, forefather Yu Cheong's golden divine bone was about to rush out of his body. He had no choice but to agree. In the end, his life was more important. As long as he didn't die, everything was still possible. "Haha, very well." Ji Yufei's clone directly pointed a finger. A ball of divine light immediately rushed out from his hand. It instantly shot towards forefather Yu Cheong and directly entered his forehead. "What?" Ancestor Yu Cheong was shocked. In the next moment, he felt like his soul had been shackled. However, this feeling disappeared very quickly, as if nothing had happened at all. This is. Forefather Yu Cheong had lived for countless years and even experienced the darkest period of the ancestral god realm. He knew that from now on, he might really become Yi Futian's servant. At this moment, Ji Yufei's clone laughed and directly waved his right hand. The mountain and river cauldron floating in the void immediately flew back to him. It quickly shrunk and landed in his right hand. Forefather Yu Cheong only felt his body lighten. The terrifying power that was suppressing him immediately disappeared. He circulated his divine power, and the wounds on his body quickly healed. He stood up and directly opened a storage space that he had refined. He took out a set of clean clothes and quickly put them on. He then hurriedly went in front of Ji Yufei's clone. Yu Qiong greets Master. Forefather Yu Qiong directly knelt in front of Ji Yufei's clone, who was holding the mountain and river cauldron. All right, get up. From now on, you will be like them and do your best to work for me. I won't mistreat you. Ji Yufei's clone pointed at the Chaos Demon Ape and the other two stone devils and said, "What? They are also Master's servants." Yu Qiong was shocked to see this. One should know that if he didn't use the Golden God's Bone, any one of the three stone devils could easily take his life. An existence that could use the power of the extreme way, even if he wanted to kill a quasi-supreme, it would be as easy as flipping his hand. Thinking of this, Yu Qiong's forehead was covered in sweat. Who exactly is Master to be able to subdue such powerful demons? Master shouldn't be a demon. The God race and the devil race were born to be sworn enemies. In the past, when there was still a passageway between the two realms, and when the God race and devil race in the ancestor God realm and the Chaos Devil world could still communicate with each other, the two great races were already fighting endlessly. If the God race and the demons in the ancestral God realm and the Chaos Demon realm could live in harmony, there wouldn't have been such an earth-shattering war. Of course, Ji Yufei's clone wouldn't care about these things. What he cared about was his own strength. He wanted to nurture his own forces in the ancestral God realm. In that case, he would start with old ancestor Yu Qiong of the deity race. Get up. Why are you still kneeling? Ji Yufei's clone glanced at old ancestor Yu Qiong, who was kneeling in front of him, and said, "Yes, Master." Old ancestor Yu Qiong quickly stood up. He didn't want to bow and scrape to please others, but he had no choice. If he didn't, he would be dead for sure. An ambitious and ruthless person like Yu Qiong could endure humiliation and what others couldn't. His will was incomparably firm and his will to survive was stronger than ordinary people. Otherwise, he wouldn't be an ambitious and ruthless person. Your deity race should forget about the immortal Medicine Ridge. It's a place that belongs to Kang Q. Ji Yufei's clone said indifferently. Yes, it belongs to whoever Master says it belongs to. Yu Qiong lowered his head and said. He didn't dare to look at Ji Yufei's clone. His words had a hidden meaning. Only Ji Yufei could decide who the immortal Medicine Ridge belonged to. Kang Q used to be a supreme god ancestor. How could he not understand Yu Qiong's hidden meaning? However, he didn't say anything. His face was calm and he didn't show any expression. This made Yu Qiong a little disappointed. He was trying to sow discord. However, in the next moment, Yu Qiong flew out as if he was hit by something. He spat out a mouthful of blood in the air. Don't play tricks in front of me. Understand? Ji Yufei's clone looked at old ancestor Yu Qiong coldly and said. If Kang Q could understand Yu Qiong's hidden meaning, so could he. Yes, Master. I won't do it again. Old ancestor Yu Qiong quickly wiped the trace of blood from the corner of his mouth and said in fear. All right, let's go out. As Ji Yufei's clone spoke, he immediately turned around and walked towards the ancestral god realm outside the primal chaos. The instant he walked out of the primal chaos void, he suddenly felt that the atmosphere outside seemed a little strange. Chapter 3401. What Kang Q couldn't handle was settled by Ji Yufei's doppelganger. The old ancestor of the deity race, Yu Qiong, was defeated by Ji Yufei's doppelganger. In order to survive, he was willing to be Ji Yufei's servant and follow Ji Yufei's orders. Therefore, Ji Yufei's doppelganger placed a restrictive spell on Yu Qiong's spirit. If the old ancestor of the deity race disobeyed his orders, he could kill him with just a thought. Therefore, Ji Yufei's doppelganger was not worried that Yu Qiong would betray him unless he was tired of living and wanted to die. With Yu Qiong's temperament, he would not be so stupid as to want to die. In fact, the longer one lived, the more afraid they were of death. When Ji Yufei's doppelganger brought everyone out of the chaos, they found that it was extremely quiet outside. There was not a single cultivator in the entire immortal Medicine Ridge. What's going on? Ji Yufei's doppelganger was shocked to see this scene. Where did the demon god go? Shouldn't he be guarding the immortal medicine ridge? The demon god who was supposed to be guarding the immortal medicine ridge was nowhere to be seen. Moreover, there seemed to be a murderous aura shrouding the heaven and earth. Ji Yufei's doppelganger felt that something was wrong. Boom! Just when everyone was bewildered, a loud noise was heard. Suddenly, a huge tentacle broke through the void above everyone's head and directly entangled them. On the huge tentacle, there were suction cups that were even bigger than small mountains. There were also extremely sharp teeth growing in the suction cups. If one was entangled by the tentacle, even if one did not die, a layer of skin would be torn off. This is, Yu Qiong, who had just been subdued by Ji Yufei's doppelganger, was shocked to see the tentacle that suddenly broke through the void and rushed out. He seemed to know the origin of the tentacle. At this moment, Ji Yufei's doppelganger raised his head and looked up. At the same time, he waved his hand, and a series of extremely sharp sword lights immediately rushed out of his hand. In an instant, it turned into a shocking sword rainbow and pierced through the tentacle that was as big as a mountain ridge. A chilling sword energy spread out. Kang Qiu and Yu Qiong, who were behind Ji Yufei, immediately felt a chill in their faces. It was as if someone was holding a sword to their throats. Kang Qiu and the others were shocked when they saw this. It was only a clone of Ji Yufei, yet it possessed such a powerful battle prowess. It had truly exceeded their expectations. In fact, what they didn't know was that Ji Yufei's doppelganger was a different kind of existence. Unlike ordinary doppelgangers, his doppelgangers could achieve self-growth and metamorphosis. Ji Yufei's doppelganger could unleash 70 to 80% of his true strength. The sword light pierced through the tentacles that were as thick as a mountain ridge. Each sword light that penetrated through the tentacles brought with it a blob of purple divine blood. The purple divine blood rained down from the sky as if it was raining divine blood. Naturally, Ji Yufei's doppelganger, Kang Qiu, and the others would not be drenched by the purple blood rain. A divine shield emerged from their bodies and blocked the purple blood rain that was falling from the sky. As for the three gargoyle demons, they were directly drenched by the purple blood rain. The pure divine power contained in the purple blood rain was directly refined and absorbed by them. However, at this moment, Ji Yufei's doppelganger looked up into the sky with a solemn expression. Rumble, that incomparably huge tentacle retracted, but the void was collapsing and collapsing. A figure that was even larger than a mountain broke through the void and entered this world. Soon, a huge black shadow appeared high up in the sky, blocking the entire sky. What? At this moment, even Kang Qiu's expression changed. The huge existence in the sky was actually a huge octopus monster. Its tentacles fell from the sky and danced in the void. It's the Earth Spirit Clan. Old ancestor Yu Qiong exclaimed in shock. On the back of the giant octopus, there were actually black mountains. On those mountains, there were pitch-black caves, and from each cave, an incomparably powerful aura could be felt. The Earth Spirit Clan liked to live in caves. They were a race that walked underground. But without a doubt, the Earth Spirit Clan was definitely one of the most powerful races in the entire Eastern continent. At this time, the Earth Spirit Clan's experts suddenly appeared in the immortal medicine ridge. The other party's intention was obvious. Scram! Ji Yufei's doppelganger stared at the octopus monster in the sky and said. His voice spread far and wide. Young man, you're too arrogant. At this moment, a figure walked out of the cave on the octopus monster's back. It was a tall middle-aged man. So what if I'm arrogant? What can you do to me? Ji Yufei's doppelganger looked at the middle-aged man and said disdainfully. Presumptuous. The middle-aged man's gaze turned sharp. He took a step forward and instantly appeared in front of Ji Yufei's doppelganger. A powerful pressure emanated from his body and suppressed Ji Yufei's doppelganger. Quasi-supreme. Ji Yufei's doppelganger was a little surprised. This fella was actually a quasi-supreme. No wonder he dared to plot against the immortal medicine ridge. Little fella, die. The quasi-supreme from the Earth Spirit Clan didn't hesitate. He stretched out his right hand and directly grabbed at Ji Yufei's doppelganger. The strength of a quasi-supreme surged from his body. However, Ji Yufei's doppelganger laughed at this moment. Just as the Quasi-Supreme's right hand was about to grab Ji Yufei's doppelganger, a huge hand suddenly stretched out from the side. Bam! A muffled collision sound was heard. The Quasi-Supreme from the Earth Spirit clan and the person next to Ji Yufei's doppelganger clashed. Neither of them gained the upper hand. The two experts each took a few steps back. Who are you? The Quasi-Supreme from the Earth Spirit clan looked at the black-clothed middle-aged man and asked coldly. The person who blocked the Quasi-Supreme's attack was Kang Q. Of course, even if he didn't make a move, the Quasi-Supreme from the Earth Spirit clan wouldn't have been able to injure Ji Yufei's doppelganger. Kang Q directly said his name. At his cultivation level, there was no need for him to hide anything. Kang Q, the one who was said to have died in the Chaos Demon realm. The Quasi-Supreme from the Earth Spirit clan couldn't help but be shocked. He didn't expect Kang Q to still be alive and had even returned. Mage, at least you have some eyesight. Kang Q said coldly. Roar. Right at this moment, a furious roar resounded from the depths of the mountain range in the distance. Then, with a bang, the entire mountain range instantly turned into dust and completely disappeared from this world. At the same time, two extremely powerful auras came from afar. The eyes of Ji Yufei's doppelganger immediately lit up when he sensed the two auras. One of the two guys who were fighting was the demon god. Obviously, the other party was trying to lure the demon god away and occupy the immortal medicine ridge. One had to admit that the Earth Spirit clan's plan was not bad. However, the plan was dead while the people were alive. Whether they could succeed or not depended on their luck. At that moment, more experts from the Earth Spirit clan appeared on the back of the octopus monster. Almost all of them were looking at the two experts below nervously. Kill. Without saying too much, that Quasi-Supreme of the Earth Spirit clan continued to attack. Boundless Earth essence gathered, and an extremely terrifying pressure spread in all directions. Ji Yufei's doppelganger only felt his body tighten. The Earth essence chi turned into divine chains and wrapped around him tightly. Roar. Ji Yufei's doppelganger roared towards the sky. The terrifying sound wave spread out and the entire void shook. Visible transparent ripples spread out in all directions. The divine chains that were wrapped around his body immediately crumbled. Rumble, the pitch-black spatial cracks were like black lightning bolts, wreaking havoc in all directions. The Earth Spirit clan's expert was the first to bear the brunt of the sound wave and was forced to take a dozen steps back. He was inexplicably shocked. The little guy's cultivation was obviously lower than his, but the combat strength he had displayed was extremely abnormal. How could this be? The Quasi-Supreme from the Earth Spirit clan was very curious. Swoosh. At that moment, the figure of Ji Yufei's doppelganger disappeared into the void. Bang! A fist punched out from the void and hit one of the Earth Spirit clan's patriarchs, sending him flying. The Earth Spirit clan's expert was enraged, but there was nothing he could do. After he stabilized his body, his left eye swelled up. The punch just now had landed on his right eye. You what? Take another punch from me. Ji Yufei's doppelganger's voice came out of the void. As he spoke, his fist suddenly came out of the void again. This time, although the Earth Spirit clan's expert was prepared, he was still punched in the right eye by Ji Yufei's doppelganger. Roar. The Earth Spirit clan's expert roared continuously. The sound wave spread out in all directions. Even the cultivators who were thousands of miles away could hear his roar. At that moment, Ji Yufei's doppelganger was still fused with the void around him. Not even the Earth Spirit clan's expert could sense his existence. This was the power of the 9 secrets of the immortal path. Soon, the handsome Quasi-Supreme from the deity clan was beaten into a pig's head by Ji Yufei's doppelganger. Kang Q and old ancestor Yu Qiong were shocked to see this. One had to know that the Earth Spirit clan's expert was one of the best. If Ji Yufei's doppelganger were to offend him, there would be endless troubles in the future.